Greetings, everyone. This evening, we embark on a journey into a subject that the ancient Egyptians approached with both gravity and a touch of the realm of intimacy. From sacred rituals to unexpectedly candid poetry, this civilization embraced a spirit of openness, creativity, and a daring sense of experimentation that many today might only muster after a couple of glasses of wine and a glance at their horoscope. Before you settle in, I invite you to take a moment to show your appreciation for the journey we share by liking the video and subscribing, but only if you truly find joy in what unfolds here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments about where you're joining us from and what time it is in your corner of the globe. It's always intriguing to see the diverse places our audience comes from. Now let us lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan to create a gentle background murmur, and prepare to embark on tonight's adventure together. The Egyptians approached sex with a pragmatic mindset, viewing it as a vital aspect of life. Much like plumbing, essential, practical, and best when flowing smoothly without obstructions. In the vibrant tapestry of ancient Egyptian society, intimacy was not shrouded in secrecy, nor cloaked in whispers or awkward euphemisms. It was woven into the fabric of existence, akin to the sun's ascent, the Nile's annual embrace, or the whimsical antics of cats following their own whims. The deities orchestrated it, the cultivators embraced it, the aristocrats participated, and importantly, none felt compelled to conjure up a sense of shame regarding it. In this culture, sexuality was not viewed through a lens of shame or peril. Rather, it was revered, intricately woven into the fabric of creation, fertility, well-being, and the joy of personal pleasure. Not necessarily in that order, this wasn't indulgence, it was harmony. In the tapestry of Egyptian society, the threads of Maat wove a narrative of cosmic harmony, where sexuality played a vital role in preserving that delicate balance. Fertility brought forth the bounty of crops, and from those crops emerged the sustenance of food, which in turn ensured the very essence of survival. In a world where passion flourishes, one might imagine the divine beings above, nodding in approval, their smiles, reflecting the vitality of a vibrant love life. Perhaps it was time to ignite a candle in honor of Hathor and contemplate the sweet addition of more honey. This embracing spirit permeated all aspects of life, art, literature, medicine, and even the very structures that surrounded us. In the heart of ancient civilizations, temples adorned with intricate carvings of fertility deities stood as testaments to the reverence of love. Homes were thoughtfully designed with secluded nooks, recognizing the sacredness of intimacy. Indeed, the wisdom of ancient architects shone through as they understood that the essence of love thrives far from the clamor of granaries. In contrast to many societies that followed ancient Egypt, embraced a more relaxed view on intimacy, free from the shackles of celibacy or harsh penalties for sexual relations, save for the complications that arose from property disputes or the entanglements of another's spouse. In this tale, the landscape was devoid of sweeping puritanical waves, and the intricate webs of hierarchy spun from the choices of individuals were absent. Your worth in society wasn't bound by your intimate encounters. Rather, it was linked to the expanse of your land, the bounty of your grain harvest, and the brilliance of your linen under the sun's rays. Have you ever pondered the intriguing relationship between sex and sacredness in ancient Egypt? The answer lies with the gods, who in their divine wisdom wove this intimate act into the very fabric of their celestial duties. Once upon a time, there was Atum, the very first solo performer. In the Heliopolitan creation myth, the tale unfolds with Atom, who in a moment of fervent self-engagement brought the world into existence. Without a partner or assistance, only sheer resolve and a universe of solitude guide the way. From this, he conjured Shu, the air, and Tefnut, the moisture, illustrating that the Egyptian universe truly commenced with a singular divine performance and the essence of life itself. This wasn't a tale of scandal. It was one of reverence. Atom's creative act radiated strength, a celestial declaration that existence begins with yearning, devoid of fig leaves or uncomfortable pauses. The deities held no shame, so why should mortals feel it? Gather around as we delve into the tale of Osiris and Isis, the legendary duo of ancient Egypt's royal lineage. In a tale of betrayal and devotion, when Osiris met his tragic end at the hands of his envious brother, Set it was Isis filled with unwavering resolve, who painstakingly pieced together his shattered form. Every last bit of it. Ah, but not quite all. A vital piece was absent. And what was her next move? With a touch of enchantment, she fashioned a replacement, breathing life into him, just long enough for Horus to be conceived. And thus, the lineage of the gods carried on. That's a beautiful connection, paired with remarkable organization of time. Next, we encounter Min, the divine embodiment of fertility and the essence of male vigor. He was frequently illustrated as a towering figure, adorned with a crown of lettuce, proudly grasping his most distinctive trait. In the realm of antiquity, the statues stood as silent sentinels, revealing their secrets without a whisper of mystery. Shrines to Min showcased ritual lettuce offerings embodying the essence of fertility. And so it was that lettuce became their little secret, a green elixir of sorts. Hathor, the enchanting goddess of love music and revelry, embodied a captivating essence. Frequently portrayed in the nude or semi-nude, she embodied the essence of joy found in human connection. Movement, longing, joy, and allure. Festivals celebrating her were like ancient gatherings filled with the rhythm of tambourines and the spark of connection. Even the sun god Ra experienced moments of significance in reproduction, often through the power of speech or the act of spitting, which is only marginally less peculiar than Atom's solitary display. The deities crafted the essence of desire as sacred, essential, and occasionally a touch adventurous. They intertwined the divine with the delightful. They intertwined them. Not every Egyptian was engaged in the art of crafting enchanting phalluses or presenting sacred lettuce to the deity of fertility. They were everyday folks, navigating the complexities of life, seeking moments of closeness amidst the demands of tending to their animals and steering clear of lurking dangers. In contrast to the grand tales of their dramatic deities and the occasionally scandalous affairs of royalty, the everyday Egyptian's romantic life was refreshingly simple and relatable. Imagine a time when a farmer, a potter, or a linen worker found themselves in the dance of romance, their hearts swayed by the charm of those who lived close by, the allure of a fine brew, and the rare delight of a smile complete with teeth by the age of 30. Expectations yet fair, connections flourished through the weaving of collective efforts, the joy of communal feasts, and in the best of circumstances, the warmth of mutual fondness. In the quiet of the night, couples nestled together in shared warmth, nurturing their children with love. And sometimes with a playful spirit, they would tuck a secret love note onto a shard of pottery, a whisper of affection in their everyday lives. Indeed, Fragments of pottery bearing heartfelt messages such as "I dream of your beauty by night." Ah, behold the echoes of a bygone era in communication, dear friends. Intimacy flowed freely unbound by the constraints of religious authority or the dictates of governance. As long as it was agreed upon and didn't disrupt your responsibilities or someone else's vows, it was yours to navigate. Though privacy was scarce, with thin walls and ever-curious neighbors, the essence of intimacy was held in high regard. For many couples, the warmth of the physical affection was openly shared. Tomb paintings often depicted husbands and wives in intimate moments, gently holding hands or standing face to face, conveying a sense of genuine connection rather than mere ceremonial formality. These were individuals who truly cherished the bonds they formed with one another. The Egyptians possessed a remarkable sense of timing. Fertility held great significance. Many tales to tell, the Nile rose with certainty, the crops danced to the rhythm of the seasons, and so too did the human body follow its own natural cycles. Women were attuned to their rhythms. Men relied on nature's remedies, and every household boasted a grandmother ready to share her wisdom, often featuring the curious combination of honey and onions. Though not infallible, contraception wove itself into the fabric of existence. Thus was the art of midwifery. In ancient times, there existed fascinating methods of testing for pregnancy, one of which involved the use of barley and emmer seeds. If they blossomed, after receiving a little liquid encouragement, well done. Perhaps next year will be the time for it to unfold. And if the tale of love took an unexpected turn, parting ways was always an option. There shall be no trials, nor shall there be any public shaming, merely a division of land and a return to individual baking hearths. Picture this ancient Egyptian weddings adorned with veils and bouquets, where even the most awkward uncles can't resist breaking into the crocodile dance. But perhaps it's best to temper those vivid images a great deal. In the days of ancient Egypt, the journey to matrimony was refreshingly simple and effortless. What one truly required was a humble abode, a loaf of bread, and a spirit of understanding. Among one another, sharing a bed brought its own warmth and comfort. In the absence of ceremony, there stood no priest, no registry office, and certainly no elaborate 47-plate catering menu featuring chicken lamb or some enigmatic stew of divine origins. When two individuals chose to unite their lives, sharing their resources, meals, linens, and perhaps even a goat society, embraced their bond as one of marriage. And so it was. Completed. There are no wedding dresses to be found either. The women donned their familiar linen garments the same as they did on countless other days. Typically white, occasionally adorned with pleats, they were always designed to allow the air to flow freely. There were no rings exchanged, no vows spoken, and no emotional groomsmen delivering heartfelt speeches. In the realm of ancient Egypt, connections thrived without the need for grand displays. They sought a grounded approach. There are tasks awaiting your attention indeed. The barley awaits its turn to be threshed, a task that won't accomplish itself. In certain times, it was not uncommon for couples to draft marriage contracts, particularly as the years progressed. These were essentially agreements from a bygone era. Who contributes what to the home? Who holds on to what if the tides turn unexpectedly? From time to time, the agreements laid out consequences for misdeeds. If you strike me, you shall pay in silver. While it may lack romance, it certainly excels in efficiency. The marriage contracts served to bolster women's rights, reflecting the surprisingly progressive nature of ancient Egypt. Women had the power to own property, initiate divorce, and seek justice in court if their ex-husbands dared to act inappropriately. If love were to wear a blindfold, the laws of Egypt would surely see everything with clarity. There wasn't exactly a honeymoon, unless you consider the delightful aftermath of a grand feast, where the only concern was whether the neighbors caught wind of the revelry. Yet the essence of closeness, warmth, and togetherness was unmistakably cherished. Marriage transcended mere transaction. It blossomed into a profound partnership. In a perfect world, allow me to set the stage. In the realm of ancient Egypt, the concept of fidelity held a revered place, particularly in the realm of ideals. In reality, the situation was often more adaptable, especially for those who possessed wealth, influence, or had particularly persuasive justifications. Adultery, much like various societal transgressions, has not always been regarded as a crime. For the common people, it was more of a threat to their standing than a calamity of the law. Should you find yourself ensnared in the web of deceit, whispers would surely ripple through the crowd with great volume, and perhaps in rhyme. Yet if no one's livestock or inheritance was directly harmed, the government showed little urgency in addressing your adventures. Yet for a married woman ensnared in the web of infidelity, the repercussions could be far more severe, impacting her social standing and financial stability, if not invoking legal ramifications. In the tapestry of Egyptian society, a patriarchal thread wove through, yet it was not harshly dominant. A woman's loyalty was intricately linked to matters of lineage, inheritance, and her reputation as a stabilizing force during the crucial harvest season. Whispers of betrayal could unravel the very fabric of a marriage, casting shadows of disgrace, and in some instances, invoking harsh retributions such as physical punishment or exile. This was especially true in the grand halls of the elite, where the preservation of family honor was a relentless pursuit. Men, on the other hand, enjoyed greater freedom of movement. A man bound by vows finds himself entwined with a woman unencumbered by such commitments often dismissed. A man bound by vows entangled with another woman who shares the same commitment. Ah, what a tangled web we weave, particularly when the other husband holds significance and shuns the idea of sharing. Jealousy, a timeless emotion, knows no bounds across the ages. In the annals of the New Kingdom, one can find reflections on the virtues of moral conduct and the esteemed value of a commendable reputation. In certain tales, those who stray from their vows are portrayed as naive or lacking in honor, while others weave a narrative where a man who takes another's wife faces a grim destiny, often marked by curses, impotence, or wrathful deities adorned with jackal heads. Yet the lack of stringent regulations concerning infidelity throughout various eras speaks volumes. The Egyptians embraced a way of life that didn't require them to codify every aspect of their existence. They leaned heavily on the weight of shame, the whispers of gossip, and the subtle sting of a passive-aggressive song lyric. It unfolded just as one might anticipate. When a marriage crumbled under the weight of betrayal, the journey through divorce unfolded with a certain simplicity. The land would be divided, and the community would feign indifference, all the while watching with keen interest. In those times, it was common for the little ones to remain close to their mother, particularly when they were still quite young. Upon first hearing that Egyptian pharaohs wed their sisters, you might find yourself taken aback, thinking, wait, what? In this journey you are accompanied. Many contemporary individuals tend to react in a similar manner. In the land of ancient Egypt, where the sands whispered tales of grandeur, sibling marriage among royalty was not merely accepted, it was woven into the very fabric of their customs and expectations. The essence of love and longing where hearts intertwine and dreams dance in the moonlight. Not quite. Indeed, it is a matter of great significance. To grasp this astonishing tradition, one must adopt the mindset of a pharaoh. Picture a world where you hold the conviction that your lineage traces back to deities, not just in a figurative sense of noble heritage, but in a tangible, literal connection. Should the divine unite with their kin to uphold the balance of the universe, it stands to reason that the royal lineage would follow suit. For what could symbolize everlasting stability better than those delightfully awkward family reunions that also serve as wedding celebrations? This was not a matter of desire, it was a quest for dominance. In the ancient realm, the pharaohs guarded their thrones, fiercely wary of allowing even the most esteemed outsiders to encroach upon their sacred power. Uniting with a sister or half-sister ensured the lineage remained untainted and the treasures stayed within the family fold. At its core, the grandeur of royal Egypt unfolded through a tapestry woven with threads of divine mythology and the intricate dance of dynastic trust issues. Among the most renowned pharaohs, many embraced this age-old tradition. In the tale of Tutankhamun, we discover that he emerged from a union between siblings, a revelation that modern DNA analysis has brought to light. And as fate would have it, the outcome was far from favorable. Tut faced a myriad of congenital challenges, such as a clubfoot and a delicate immune system, hinting that the repetition of the family lineage may bear its own burdens. In the midst of it all, the common folk remained untouched by this burgeoning trend. Most ordinary Egyptians chose to marry beyond their close kin, much like rational, thriving individuals. In the quiet corners of rural life, cousin marriages were a whispered norm, yet the sacred bond of brother-sister unions belonged solely to those adorned in gold masks, embarking on journeys in burial boats. Even within the halls of royalty, the practice could weave a tapestry of complications. When Cleopatra, indeed the legendary Cleopatra, ascended to the throne, she entered into marriages with her brothers, as was the custom of the time. However, she wielded power predominantly on her own, and later formed alliances with notable figures such as Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, who, fortunately, were not of her bloodline. To us, the entire notion appears strange and indeed lacking in medical wisdom. Yet for the esteemed elite of ancient Egypt, it was merely a tradition, cloaked in the grandeur of divine reasoning. To preserve the sanctity of their lineage, the divine bloodlines were compelled to maintain their purity, even at the cost of diversity within the royal gene pool. Many might picture ancient Egyptian art as a realm of solemn statues, rigid postures, and endless profile views. And while that's not entirely incorrect, it misses a captivating twist found in the Turin erotic papyrus. In that moment, it dawns on you, they wove humor into their tales, accompanied by intricately detailed depictions of the human form. Though Egyptian art is often celebrated for its restraint, featuring stoic pharaohs and serene gods with perfectly symmetrical profile faces, the culture certainly had its moments of playful irreverence. Intimacy, after all, wasn't something to be shunned. At times, the artist would pause from shaping falcons, turning instead to sketch something a touch more full of life. The Turin Papyrus, a tale of intrigue and mystery, now hidden within the confines of an Italian museum, much like a mischievous secret waiting to be uncovered. It is thought to originate from approximately 1150 BCE, featuring clear and vivid scenes rather than ambiguous mythological hints. Imagine vivid graphic illustrations depicting men and women, where one gentleman performs an acrobatic feat atop amphorae, a scene that could be rich in symbolism or simply a display of skillful bravado. Scholars engage in a lively discourse, pondering whether it was a clever satire, tantalizing erotica, or perhaps a delightful blend of the two. Some believe it was crafted for amusement, perhaps even intended as a present for someone with rather peculiar preferences. Some believe it was a clever jest, a playful artistic endeavor that lampooned society's fixation on fertility, virility, and extravagant hairstyles. With the exception of this singular piece, the majority of Egyptian erotic art conveyed meaning through symbolism rather than explicit imagery. The temples lacked frescoes depicting the Kama Sutra. Within their art, one could find symbols of fertility, sacred imagery, and the occasional depiction of the human form, all embodying themes of rebirth, creation, and the essence of divine femininity. Goddesses such as Hathor and fertility deities like Min were frequently depicted in the nude, yet always in a manner that conveyed deep respect. Min, for instance, is often portrayed standing tall, if you catch the drift, clutching his emblematic symbol as if it were a sacred badge of honor. Next, we delve into the interplay of wit and allure, found in unconventional illustrations. Creatures acting with human-like quirks, grandiose movements, and playful little doodles on workers' ostraca limestone shards serving as whimsical reminders. The timeless act of sketching in the margins when the overseer's gaze wandered elsewhere. In Egyptian art, the portrayal of eroticism was not intended to provoke outrage. It was just another chapter in the grand narrative of existence, occasionally marked with joy, frequently steeped in tradition, and at times delightfully extravagant. These individuals were not held back. They possessed a remarkable understanding of boundaries, and every now and then they would declare a day where the scroll required a touch of excitement. If you envision ancient love, poetry as rigid sculpted metaphors, such as your beauty resembles a grain silo, it's time to reconsider. The Egyptians, with their chisels and stone-etched hieroglyphs that spoke of eternity, yet their love letters flowed with a grace that defied the very material they used. These individuals possessed an artful way of flirting, weaving their charm with ink and flair, and at times embracing a delightful lack of restraint. Inscribed on ancient papyri and fragmented pottery for what could symbolize everlasting affection more than a repurposed cereal bowl, Egyptian love poems, primarily from the New Kingdom era, around 1300 BCE, reveal a candidness that is both refreshing and fervent. At times, they are so intensely passionate that one might imagine they were penned during a Nile flood with little else to occupy their time. Here's a true gem from a tale. In the comfort of my abode, I shall recline and weave a tale of illness. When you arrive to visit, your presence will bring me comfort, and I will begin to heal. This is not a mere whisper of romantic ideals. This is a playful dance with intention. These poems were crafted by both men and women, frequently drawing from a first-person viewpoint. Such a phenomenon is indeed uncommon in the annals of antiquity. In Egypt, a young woman wove tales of the electric thrill found in stolen glances across the shimmering lotus pond. A young man, could eloquently express how her voice surpassed the finest brew. Such unwavering dedication truly merits a grand tribute. These were not mere private diary entries either. Some of them graced banquets, shared aloud for amusement courtship, or simply to bridge those awkward pauses between harp melodies. Picture a time long past where romantic encounters unfolded with the recitation of fervent verses accompanied by fine wine and perhaps a feast of roasted goat, all woven together with rich metaphors. Ah, they truly embraced the journey. Fruit embodied the essence of sensuality. The chase was an art, a dance of allure and strategy. Gardens and rivers, you see, held tales that went beyond mere agriculture. These poems boldly intertwine the warmth of earthly affection with the vastness of cosmic love. Desire was a force to be embraced, a flame that should never be dimmed. It was destined to be celebrated in song, etched into pages, and perhaps recounted by that one cousin whose reading pace seemed to stretch time itself. When one conjures images of aphrodisiacs, the mind often drifts to oysters chocolate, or a fine glass of wine, rather than a humble salad. In the days of ancient Egypt, a bouquet of lettuce gifted to you held a meaning far beyond mere nutrition. A playful exchange danced between them. In a curious twist of fate, they called upon the might of Min, the Egyptian deity of fertility, whose connection to romaine lettuce was steeped in both symbolism and intrigue, leaving one to ponder the deeper meanings behind this unusual bond. Indeed, romaine. This is far from your typical Caesar garnish. This was something truly revered. What is the reason behind it? In contrast to the floppy-leafed varieties we find in our lunch bowls today, the Egyptian lettuce stood tall and exuded a milky white sap when sliced open. And if that didn't evoke some profoundly suggestive divine symbolism, nothing would. In ages long past, the priests gazed upon that and declared, surely this is the very essence of masculine power. Of course, in the sacred moments of fertility rituals, Min was often presented with the humble yet significant offering of lettuce. In his statues, he is often depicted in a state of keen awareness, one hand grasping his iconic attribute, while the other cradles a stalk of lettuce. For centuries, that pairing has captivated the minds of art historians, sparking endless discussions and interpretations. At fertility festivals, devotees would offer bundles of lettuce at his temple, seeking his blessing for enhanced virility, a thriving pregnancy, or perhaps a sprinkle of romantic fortune. Min was akin to a mystical force guiding connections in ancient Egypt, much like a modern dating app algorithm. Honor him in the right way, and perhaps your fortunes will shift. It is fascinating to note that the lettuce was thought to possess healing qualities, especially in the realm of enhancing sexual well-being. Whether it truly had an effect, or merely offered a minty freshness before a romantic encounter, is a matter open to interpretation, yet the meaning lingered on. And this was no mere fleeting moment. Lettuce finds its way into art, hieroglyphics, and offerings in tombs, whispering a request for continued enjoyment in the afterlife, perhaps with a side of salad. It's fascinating to observe how the ancient Egyptians embraced the beauty of natural symbolism in their culture. From the nurturing floods of the Nile to the daily blossoming of the lotus flower, the tangible realm reflected their profound spiritual convictions. When a vegetable begins to display some unusual flair, you can be sure it has ascended to a realm of enchantment. In the realm of pregnancy prevention, the ancient Egyptians wove a tapestry of creativity, utilizing herbal remedies that could both intrigue and astonish. In a time devoid of modern scientific tools, they turned to the gifts of nature, drawing upon the wisdom passed down through generations, as well as ancient texts such as the Ebers Papyrus, a remarkable medical document that has withstood the test of time, originating around 1550 BCE. Among the more notorious remedies was one that called for crocodile dung. Blended with the sweetness of honey and the tang of sourdough, this unique mixture was carefully placed, vaginally serving as a barrier against conception. Though contemporary audiences might flinch, the concept held a certain rationale. The blend probably fostered an environment that was either acidic or obstructive. The effectiveness of it remains shrouded in mystery. Determining whether it was unpleasant is a task that invites speculation. More promising was the use of acacia gum, a plant extract that, as later science revealed, transforms into lactic acid, a compound that indeed possesses spermicidal properties. When blended with other elements, such as honey and dates, it crafted a primitive form of pessary. It stands as one of the rare ancient remedies that might just manage to breeze through a rather forgiving clinical trial. These methods reveal that Egyptian women, possessing remarkable legal and medical agency for their era, played dynamic roles in the management of reproduction. These materials would have been well known to midwives, healers, and the women of the household, passed down through generations, like cherished secrets. There existed pathways woven with ritual and spiritual essence. Women often turned to fertility deities, such as Isis, Hathor, or Bez, hoping to invoke their blessings for conception or to postpone it. In the enchanting world of ancient Egypt, where the mystical intertwined with the mundane, magical amulets and incantations danced alongside practical remedies. This delicate fusion blurred the boundaries between medicine and religion, reflecting the rich tapestry of life in that remarkable civilization. Beyond the realm of pregnancy prevention, ancient Egyptian medical texts reveal fascinating insights into the art of inducing menstruation, addressing infertility, and even detecting early pregnancy. They employed intriguing methods such as barley and emmer grains exposed to urine, which proved surprisingly accurate in certain instances. In a time devoid of contemporary instruments, these traditions unveil a society profoundly engaged in the exploration and mastery of the human form. Though they were without microscopes, their resolve was unwavering. The essence of fertility intertwined with the threads of existence, survival, wealth, and the blessings of the divine. Though some of their methods may now appear peculiar, the underlying motivation to strategize, to safeguard, to ready themselves resonates deeply with us. In the time of ancient Egypt, virginity was not seen as a mark of honor, a form of social currency, or a delicate family treasure to be fiercely protected. In truth, it was hardly significant, more akin to a fleeting detail in the larger tapestry of existence, which primarily centered on agriculture legacy and the delicate balance of appeasing the deities before the dawn's first light. In the ancient Egyptian lexicon, a term that encapsulates the concept of virginity in its moral and ceremonial dimensions remains elusive. The nearest you'll encounter are phrases that signify a young woman or someone uninitiated, which leans less towards purity culture and more towards the idea of simply not having had the time yet. There were no flickering flames to cast shadows, no rituals to mark the occasion, and certainly no mothers-in-law scrutinizing linens as if they were searching for forged bills. This was not due to the Egyptians being outrageous libertines. They embraced a much more practical perspective on intimacy. It was woven into the fabric of existence as natural as the daily bread or the instinct to steer clear of hippos. Significant indeed, occasionally revered. Yet there was nothing that called for a purity certificate marked by the hands of a temple priest. For women, worth was often measured by attributes such as fertility, loyalty, and the ability to manage a household without chaos erupting. Her romantic journey, primarily her domain. Marriage was not merely about formalizing a pure agreement. It was a quest to forge a steadfast bond, one that could endure the trials of tax season and the ravages of plagues. Indeed, there was a presence of modesty. Individuals didn't roam about proclaiming their victories on ancient scrolls, yet the fervent fixation on virginity that emerged in later cultures simply did not take root in this context. There are no hidden corners, no fortunes tied to moral deeds, and no relatives delivering uncomfortable orations on righteousness. Even the beliefs of ancient Egypt provided scant backing for the entire frenzy surrounding purity. The goddess Hathor, a divine embodiment of love music and wine, radiated an alluring sensuality completely unfazed by the judgments of others. The deities were preoccupied with the intricate dance of creation and the delicate harmony of the cosmos, leaving little time to ponder the deeds of mortals who had acted when and alongside whom. Ultimately, in ancient Egypt, virginity was regarded as a fleeting state, not a permanent mark on one's life journey. It appeared that their focus lay more on the art of baking fine bread and the assurance of a sturdy roof provided by your father. In a land where the sun scorches the earth and crocodiles lurk in the shadows, one discovers swiftly the essence of true importance and the trivialities that fade away. In the tapestry of ancient Egyptian society, there were no vibrant flags unfurled or grand parades to celebrate, yet the threads of same-sex relationships wove seamlessly into the fabric of their lives, seemingly untroubled by their presence. In a world where the weight of judgment seemed absent, there were no decrees to cast them out, no crowds gathering to hurl stones, and perhaps most revealing, no impassioned speeches echoing through the temples, warning of a civilization's downfall due to the simple act of two men finding solace in each other's company. In brief, they observed, yet remained calm. One of the most captivating tales revolves around Nyank Khnum and Khnumhotep, two esteemed officials who found their eternal rest side by side in a shared tomb at Saqqara. Their tomb showcases tender artwork, the duo embracing with their noses nearly touching a gesture akin to a kiss, embodying the essence of a couple whose most significant disagreement was likely over the hues of their linens. The inscriptions depict them as guardians of the manicurists, a term that seems harmless at first glance, yet upon deeper reflection, it becomes evident that they were intimately connected, buried together as a single family unit. Did their hearts intertwine as one? Roommates with remarkable boundaries, brothers with a unique bond often seen hand in hand. Scholars continue to engage in lively discussions, yet the imagery strongly suggests a connection that is romantic or, at the very least, profoundly affectionate. And the existence of their tomb adorned with beauty and visible to all implies that there was no outcry. They held significance, commanded respect, and seemingly had the freedom to express their true selves even in the face of mortality. The ancient Egyptian texts and mythology weave a tapestry rich with fluidity. In the tapestry of ancient beliefs, certain deities, such as Hapi, the revered god of the Nile, are portrayed with a fluidity that transcends traditional gender boundaries, embodying both intersex and androgynous traits. In the realm of myth, characters effortlessly embrace dual identities or transform their genders, all while navigating their narratives without a hint of divine discontent. The divine, it appears, transcended the confines of human classifications, just as the mortals who called upon them did. Nevertheless, there is a lack of evidence supporting the existence of structured same-sex marriages or any political acknowledgement of same-gender unions. The Egyptians approached life with a practical mindset. If a bond yielded offspring and a sense of security, splendid. If it didn't, then that was a matter for your household to ponder. Intimacy, as ever, danced between the realms of secrecy and the everyday, weaving a tapestry of both closeness and casualness. In the annals of history, male same-sex relations often take center stage, their stories etched into the records for all to see. Yet the tales of female same-sex relations remain shrouded in silence, not due to their absence, but rather because the scribes of ancient Egypt had a perplexing tendency to overlook the deeds of women when they were away from the gaze of men. In the time of ancient Egypt, the blessing of children was not merely a wish, but a profound aspiration. It was a societal norm, a sacred obligation, and if fortune smiled upon you, a means to guarantee that your tomb offerings would be replenished long after you had departed this world. When a couple faced the challenge of conceiving, their journey was not overlooked. It was explored through the lens of medicine, woven with threads of magic, and on occasion, both realms intertwined in a single afternoon. In the land of the ancient Egyptians, the challenge of infertility was met with a practical mindset, reflecting their unique understanding of life's complexities. In the ancient scrolls of medicine, particularly the Kahun gynecological papyrus from around 1800 BCE, one can uncover a wealth of knowledge. These texts reveal intricate diagnoses, treatments, and insightful methods for assessing female fertility, painting a vivid picture of the medical practices of the time. In the realm of ancient wisdom, there existed a guide to the subtle art of observing cervical mucus, tracking the rhythms of cycles, and even a rudimentary method for testing for pregnancy, which involved the curious act of urinating on barley and emmer wheat. Should the grains begin to sprout, rejoice, for your home is on the brink of becoming a cacophony of life. Should that not suffice, the following course of action may lead to the introduction of herbal concoctions, the ritual of fumigating the womb, indeed, or seeking the favor of greater forces. In Egypt, when the remedies of medicine fell short, the allure of magic was ever present, often suggested as a compelling alternative. Amulets held a pivotal significance. Emblems of Hathor Isis, Bez or Tabaret, the guardian of childbirth with her hippo form, were adorned, held close, or nestled beneath pillows. Incantations danced upon the air, while tiny figures found their resting places, either hidden beneath the earth or held close with care. One tale reveals that to invite new life, a woman might sip a blend of ground dates, honey, and carob, all while whispering a protective incantation. Not sanctioned by the FDA, yet filled with genuine emotion. Men naturally were not exempt from scrutiny, although significantly fewer documents take the time to explore their roles in reproduction. In the realm of enduring infertility, a man may find himself advised to partake in sacred purification rituals, seek the counsel of a priest, or in more casual whispers, to simply put forth greater effort. In the land of Egypt, where the sands whisper tales of ancient wisdom, the essence of cosmic order may have wove itself into the very fabric of existence. A couple without children may be viewed as incomplete, or even marked by misfortune, Yet society chose not to cast them aside. It presented solutions a glimmer of hope and some wonderfully imaginative prescriptions. It's important to highlight that in spite of all this endeavor, Egyptian households were not always brimming with children. The harsh realities of high infant mortality, disease, and malnutrition cast a shadow over family sizes, making them smaller than one might hope. In this delicate balance, the gift of fertility emerged as a treasure, while its absence weighed heavily on the heart. If you believe that longing diminishes with death, the ancient Egyptians might have a tale to share, along with a meticulously crafted offering slab to accompany their words. In their perspective, death was merely a transition, not a conclusion. It unfolded as a seamless extension of existence, rich with all the comforts, delights, and familiar rhythms of the living realm, encompassing even the intimacy of love. In the whispers of funerary texts, the echoes of tomb inscriptions, and the treasures of grave goods, one can sense the deep yearning of the departed. They sought to bring with them not only the sustenance of bread and beer, but also the profound desires for love touch in intimacy into the realm beyond. What I ask is the purpose of everlasting existence if it lacks the joy of experience. Tomb art frequently illustrated couples in tender embraces, hand in hand, or standing closely together, serving not merely as a display of affection, but as a sacred guide for the soul's journey. These were not mere stock poses. They were intentional offerings crafted to convey messages to the divine. Kindly mend our bodies, rekindle our love, and if fate allows, restore our intimate moments together. Indeed, the matter of physical rejuvenation weighed heavily on the mind. Within the pages of the Book of the Dead and various mortuary texts, a promise unfolds. The departed shall find their limbs restored to life, their hearts weighed with justice, and their essential attributes returned whole. There are even allusions to rejuvenating specific aspects of the body. No detail was deemed too intimate for the ages. Desire intertwined with the essence of renewal. In a tale of divine intrigue, the god Osiris met a tragic fate, torn apart and later pieced back together by the devoted Isis. With a miraculous restoration, he was brought back to life, complete with a reconstructed phallus, before taking on the role of father to Horus. This tale transcended mere legend. It served as a blueprint for countless narratives. If the divine rekindled their bonds after returning to life, then perhaps we too should follow suit. In the sacred inscriptions of tombs, one can find heartfelt pleas to the divine yearning for everlasting love between husband and wife. In the enchanting field of reeds, the Egyptian paradise, where souls find eternal bliss. It was imagined as a vibrant, perfect reflection of life on earth. Rich earth, tranquil streams, endless prosperity, and of course space for love to blossom. In contrast to contemporary societies that tend to separate the concept of sex into the realms of the earthly and the transient, the Egyptians wove it intricately into the very fabric of their beliefs about the afterlife. It was neither shameful nor lost to time. It was yet another facet of the spirit's nourishment, akin to sustenance melody and the bliss of never having to face taxes again. Ultimately, their desires mirrored those of many, a yearning for solace connection, and a sprinkle of happiness even if it required the ancient art of mummification and a handful of enchanted scrolls to achieve. As we unravel the layers of ancient Egypt, metaphorically speaking, we discover a civilization that embraced the human body, viewing it not as something to be shamed, sinned against, or regarded with suspicion. It was regarded as something inherent, mighty and able to weave together both celestial wonders and the deepest of human longings. For the Egyptians, intimacy was an open chapter, not a hidden tale. It was an undeniable truth, woven into verses illustrated through artistry, often with striking clarity, and etched into the ancient tales that formed the foundation of their understanding. Divine beings entwined in romance, exchanged playful glances, wove intricate seductions, and now and then stirred up delightful chaos tied to fertility along the banks of the Nile. In a realm where life danced to the beat of cycles, the rivers flood, the suns return, and the soul's rebirth. Intertwined, seamlessly, sexuality emerged as a harmonious note in that symphony, rather than a discordant pause. They embraced a pragmatic path. From contraception and fertility treatments to love songs and desires for the afterlife, the Egyptians confronted the essence of existence directly, often with a clarity that surpassed many societies that followed in later centuries. In a world devoid of frantic laws and moral upheaval, where uncomfortable censorship did not mar the pages of revered texts, there existed simply a profound clarity of understanding. In the dance of existence, bodies engage in their movements, while hearts experience a tapestry of emotions, all under the ever-turning wheel of the world. Crucially, they embrace the moment without dwelling too much on it. Intimacy was neither glorified nor demeaned. It encompassed health, love, family, and at times, faith elements deserving of reverence, yet free from the grip of obsession. Even the deities, mighty and everlasting, embraced the essence of physicality and closeness without hesitation. Indeed, they were the very essence of it. And though not every tradition stands the test of time, we see you crocodile dung, the spirit feels delightfully contemporary. Or perhaps the passage of 3,000 years has merely allowed modernity to finally catch up. Perhaps that is the legacy that deserves to be cherished, a culture unafraid of the body, unashamed of desire, and yet against all odds, they constructed magnificent pyramids that reached for the sky. On the fateful day of August 24th, 1814, the flames danced through the streets of Washington, D.C., consuming all in their path. As the night enveloped, the land columns of smoke clawed at the heavens, while British soldiers set ablaze the very heart of the young republic's most cherished structures. In the heart of the city stood the Capitol, the Treasury, the War Office, and the grand residence of the President, which would come to be known as the White House. Flames danced upon the rooftops, while the redcoats strolled through the city with an air of nonchalance, encountering no structured opposition. The Capitol, still in its youthful days of governance, stood vulnerable and exposed. The shame was absolute. As the events unfolded, eyes across the globe widened in astonishment, while a deep crimson hue crept across the face of America. To grasp the depth of this situation, one must journey back in time a little. 2 years prior, the United States boldly declared war on Great Britain, brimming with confidence and lofty illusions. In the minds of the Americans, the war was envisioned as a quick and triumphant affair. They would embark on a bold quest to invade Canada, vanquish the British, and ultimately claim the respect of the world. In the grand tapestry of history, one must remember that Britain was already weary from its battles against Napoleon across the vast landscapes of Europe. Surely they wouldn't muster the energy to engage with a scrappy ex-colony trying to assert its strength. They were mistaken. The attempt to invade Canada was a dismal failure, and even the U.S. Navy's scant victories could not compensate for the numerous defeats on land. The rifts within America deepened the troubles at hand. There were states that wished to avoid the conflict entirely. Resources dwindled, plans wavered, and perhaps most haunting of all, the British held on to every memory. In the year 1814, the tides of fate turned as Napoleon faced his downfall, leaving Britain with an unblemished slate ahead. With seasoned warriors now at their disposal, they directed their unwavering focus toward the vast expanse of the Atlantic. And they stood poised to deliver a message, one that would etch itself into the very fabric of the American consciousness for years to come. Washington, D.C. was not merely a target for military strategy, it held a deeper significance. The heart of authority, the emblem of the Republic's glory. On that sweltering August day, it stood nearly unguarded, for few could fathom that the British would have the audacity to launch a direct assault. Ah, the twist of fate. They didn't merely take a chance, they orchestrated every detail with precision. What transpired was not a clash, but rather a procession, illuminated by flames, driven by the thirst for retribution. A poignant reminder that the British Empire, even in the wake of revolution, retained the capacity to belittle its former colonies. As the flames danced around the House of Representatives and the smoke darkened the dome of the Capitol, a haunting question loomed over America, demanding to be confronted. Had they misjudged the might of the empire? They once dared to challenge the British didn't simply materialize in Washington out of thin air. Their journey to the capital unfolded with surprising ease, as if the Americans themselves had rolled out the welcome mat. They arrived in Benedict, Maryland, a quaint little town nestled along the serene Patuxent River. With a commanding presence, British Major General Robert Ross, a seasoned leader, set forth with approximately 4,500 troops, a formidable force comprised largely of veterans recently emerged from the Napoleonic Wars, as they embarked on their march toward the heart of Washington. It was not a frantic struggle against the foes that surrounded them. It felt more akin to a leisurely Sunday stroll in the great outdoors. What is the reason behind this? For the Americans made only a feeble attempt to halt their advance. President James Madison and his government were aware of the impending arrival of the British. They had the luxury of time on their side. Whispers of caution had reached the ears of both scouts and townsfolk alike. Yet the tangled web of bureaucracy, the paralysis of indecision, and the allure of wishful thinking conspired to create a defense that was both sluggish and chaotic. In a twist of fate, Secretary of War John Armstrong, Jr. clung to a remarkable delusion, firmly believing that the British would never have the audacity to strike at Washington. He insisted, time and again, that they would choose Baltimore. Alas, the outcome was not as one might hope. Brigadier General William Winder stood at the helm, tasked with halting the relentless march of the British forces. Regrettably, Winder excelled in the art of crafting reports, yet struggled to inspire and guide his troops. His makeshift defense force was a ragtag assembly of militiamen, a motley crew of the untrained and undisciplined, with whispers of some having indulged a bit too much in drink. The ranks of seasoned warriors at his command were regrettably sparse. Alas, Winder found himself in a moment of uncertainty. He hesitated, retreating, instead of pressing forward, uncertain of where the British would launch their attack. On the fateful day of August 24th, the two forces converged at the Battle of Bladensburg, a dramatic clash unfolding just northeast of Washington. Though the American forces held the advantage in numbers, it was of little consequence. The clash unfolded in utter chaos. The militiamen, gripped by fear, scattered and retreated without a single shot being fired. Some cast aside their arms and fled into the shadows. President Madison made a brief appearance on the field, but then, with keen insight, chose to distance himself from the inexperienced fighters. The British, taken aback by the swiftness of their triumph, advanced with determination. No obstacles to navigate, no blazing barriers, no frantic struggle to protect the heart of the realm, a direct path leading right into the heart of the city. It unfolded like a tale of misadventures, yet the humor was lost on all. As the British made their way to Washington, the American leadership found itself engulfed in turmoil. Madison took flight. Documents from the government were being gathered and loaded into carts. In a moment of unwavering resolve, First Lady Dolly Madison stood her ground, determined to leave the White House with her dignity intact. She carefully gathered precious belongings, among them the renowned portrait of George Washington by Gilbert Stuart, ensuring that history would not be left behind. As darkness enveloped the land, the redcoats advanced, and the moment to ignite the match drew near. As the British made their way into Washington, they found the city almost abandoned, a ghost of its former self. Leaders had vanished into the shadows. In the stillness of the streets, a hush enveloped the surroundings. Strangely so, the air was filled with the rhythmic thud of British soldiers' boots, accompanied by the gentle crackle of fires that still whispered tales of earlier skirmishes. With a masterful command, Major General Robert Ross and Admiral George Cockburn guided their troops, executing their plans with remarkable precision. Since chaos, order reigns supreme. Once upon a time, a determined mission unfolded as the British troops set their sights on the Capitol building. Though the work was not yet finished, the North and South wings, the chambers of Congress, stood proudly embodying the essence and purpose of the American government. The British ignited flames that consumed both wings. The Library of Congress was consumed by flames. The cherished volumes and manuscripts, many of them one-of-a-kind treasures, were consumed by the flames. It was more than a mere strike on the battlefield. It was a tale of culture. Then they journeyed to the Grand White House, which was referred to as the President's Mansion in those days. Before making her escape, Dolly Madison ensured the preservation of the now iconic portrait of George Washington. The British troops entered the building only to discover it vacant, yet the dinner remained perfectly arranged on the table, untouched by any hand. In a scene that could only be described as one of history's most uncomfortable gatherings, British officers gathered around the table to partake in the president's dinner, only to later set the place ablaze. With a sense of purpose, they approached the act of destruction as if it were a ritual steeped in meaning. Cockburn, driven by a personal vendetta against the Americans for their scornful political cartoons, took it upon himself to ignite the flames of retribution. He brazenly set fire to the offices of anti-British newspapers and even ascended the Speaker's chair in the House of Representatives, proclaiming with derision. In a relentless two-day spree, one building after another succumbed to the blaze. The Treasury, the War Department, the Navy Yard, the Arsenal. In a desperate bid to thwart any potential counterattacks, even the bridge spanning the Potomac was set ablaze. Yet in the midst of such meticulous efforts, a few sites managed to escape unscathed. In a remarkable turn of events, the Patent Office found its salvation through the courage of one extraordinary American William Thornton. With his compelling vision, he persuaded the British that this institution was a treasure for all humanity, transcending the interests of the US government alone. The devastation was not haphazard. It was precise, crafted with the intent to bring shame. The British sought not to conquer Washington, but to cast a shadow of shame upon it. As the flames consumed each structure, their message resonated with increasing intensity. This was not merely a raid, it was a reckoning, and the smoke would hang in the air long after the ashes had settled. As the British entrenched themselves in their fervent campaign against Washington, an unusual event unfolded. As the sky deepened into shades of twilight, the winds began to stir, whispering secrets of the approaching storm. And then the thunder rolled in. A tempest of unimaginable fury, a chaotic force of nature that some would come to label a hurricane, descended upon the capital with relentless might. It felt as though the very essence of nature had chosen to intervene, declaring that the city had endured its share of trials. As the heavens opened, a relentless downpour swept through, snuffing out the flames that the British had ignited. Fierce winds ripped the roofs from buildings, even hoisting cannons into the air. A British soldier was said to have been struck down by debris soaring through the air. The tempest swelled with such ferocity that British officers found themselves gripped by the notion of divine retribution, a reckoning for the flames that consumed an innocent city. And then, as if foretold by the winds of fate, a tornado tore through the very soul of DC. Indeed, a true whirlwind of nature. It swept through the heart of the town, casting aside carts and debris as if they were mere matchsticks. Structures crumbled, trees were violently uprooted, and British soldiers found themselves hurled to the earth, bewildered and disoriented. The British command, poised to depart, interpreted this as an unmistakable signal. Their message had found its way to the ears it was meant for. To linger could invite the whims of destiny. With the dawn of a new day, they departed from the city, their mission accomplished, and their boots still holding the remnants of the journey. In Washington, the storm unfolded as a dual-edged sword, bringing both misfortune and unexpected fortune. On one hand, it unleashed further chaos, tearing through the remnants of battered buildings and inundating the streets with its relentless force. Conversely, it played a crucial role in dousing the flames, and perhaps averted the total ruin of the city. The British presence was, in a sense, swept away entirely. In the imaginations of countless Americans, this storm transformed into a legend of sorts. The clergy proclaimed it a manifestation of heavenly influence. Editorials celebrated the guiding force of fate. Even the most battle-worn soldiers murmured among themselves that a divine presence had intervened to safeguard the capital when humanity had faltered. Indeed, nature remains impartial. The tempest may not have reconstructed the city or brought back those who were lost, yet it served as a poignant marker of change. The flames had died down, the British forces had retreated, and what lingered, smouldering remnants, damp ash and fractured pride, was undeniably American. The tempest transformed into an unexpected deliverance. In the void of military might, Washington found itself shielded by an enigmatic force, one that was beyond control, shrouded in unpredictability, and perhaps, in its own unique manner, offered a chance for redemption. The darkest days had passed, yet the journey to restore the spirit of a nation lay ahead. The tale was only just unfolding. The British had departed, the flames extinguished, the tempest had subsided, yet what lingered was not merely ash and debris. It was a profound psychological ruin. The heart of the nation, where history whispers through the streets and the echoes of the past shape the present, lie in desolation. The capital stood as a charred remnant of its former glory. The president's mansion stood as a mere shadow of its former self, a charred skeleton of what once was. The government offices lay in ruins, their insides laid bare with remnants strewn about or reduced to rubble. For countless individuals across the nation, particularly in the heart of the capital, the devastation resonated like a second uprising. Yet this time, it was the adversary who strode through in victorious splendor. A haunting question loomed over the nation. Is it time for Washington to continue as the heart of our nation? Countless souls thought the tale had reached its end. The reasoning appeared sound. Washington emerged as a delicate balance crafted in a murky expanse of obscurity to satisfy the desires of southern states. In the aftermath of humiliation and destruction, it appeared as though a grand experiment had met its untimely end. A few voices in Congress advocated for a change of location. Philadelphia, New York, or perhaps even Baltimore might be more fitting choices. Urban landscapes, fortified realms where honor stands resolute. Yet there were those who resisted. In their midst stood a resolute President James Madison. Though he had escaped the city amidst the chaos, he soon found himself back-driven by a fierce determination to reclaim his honor. By his side stood his wife Dolly, a beacon of elegance, amidst turmoil celebrated for her daring efforts to save the nation's treasures. United in their conviction, they proclaimed that the city would rise anew. The journey of rebuilding unfolded at a painstaking pace, with resources dwindling and spirits sinking even lower. In a time of uncertainty, Congress gathered in humble surroundings, first finding refuge at the Patent Office and later taking up residence in a sturdy yet unadorned structure known as the Old Brick Capitol. Each gathering served as a poignant reminder to lawmakers of the losses endured, yet the flames that consumed Washington ignited an unforeseen spark: determination. Common folk, skilled artisans, and hard-working individuals united in their quest to revive the city. Piece by piece, the heart of the city began to breathe life once more. Architect Benjamin Henry Latrobe made his return to guide the restoration efforts. His creations wove together enhancements, more resilient materials, and bolder dreams. The president's mansion, too, underwent a transformation, ultimately receiving a coat of whitewash to conceal the scars of its fiery past. And so it came to be known by its now legendary name, the White House. Instead of being forsaken, Washington emerged as a beacon of American resilience, a testament that even amidst profound disgrace, a republic could persevere and rise anew. And though the scars lingered, both seen and felt, they transformed into a steadfast determination. Washington stood firm, for the heart of a nation lies not merely in its structures, but in the convictions that bind its people. The flames that consumed Washington were not merely an assault on its structures. They struck at the very heart of the nation's pride. Until that pivotal moment, a great many Americans regarded the War of 1812 as a misguided spectacle, a political blunder cloaked in the fervor of patriotism. Yet when British troops set ablaze the very core of the Republic, the nation stirred from its slumber. A wave of fear swept through the hearts of citizens along the East Coast. Should the capital be so vulnerable, which city could truly claim safety? Baltimore, Philadelphia, even the bustling streets of New York. In an instant, the war loomed large, palpable, and perilously near. The sentiments of the people, once varied, started to solidify. The once respected Federalist arguments, claiming the war was both unnecessary and poorly managed, began to echo with a hint of betrayal. Even those who opposed President Madison could no longer deny that the moment for discord had passed. The nation had felt the sting of an affront, and now it was time to rise and meet the challenge head-on. Brave souls rallied together, fortifying their strongholds with unwavering resolve. Baltimore, in particular, prepared itself for what many believed would be the next target of the British forces. With determination in their hearts, the citizens set to work digging trenches, constructing fortifications, and preparing their harbour guns for the challenges ahead. The British ignited a blaze not merely within the structures of Washington, but deep within the souls of the American people. Yet it was not merely fear that took hold, it was a spirit of defiance that surged forth. Fiery editorials blazed across the pages of newspapers urging a call for vengeance. Voices rose from the heights of the pulpit, proclaiming the fervent truths of divine justice. Artists crafted evocative images of Dolly Madison and blazing structures, transforming disaster into a narrative of folk heroism. From the remnants, a tale started to unfold. Not a tale of surrender, but one of unwavering strength. It was an unusual metamorphosis. Though the capital's fall might have shattered spirits, it instead sparked a profound sense of togetherness across the nation. Amidst the shadows of shame, a fierce yearning emerged, a longing to demonstrate that the United States was more than a mere fleeting experiment in democracy. It was a testament to resilience, capable of enduring blows and rising anew. In a time of uncertainty, President Madison, who had once tread carefully and faced the disapproval of many, started to rise in prominence and influence. He stood by his shattered capital, pledging to restore it, and that vision of a bruised yet determined republic struck a profound chord. The British aimed to bring shame, yet they ignited a fire within. The conflict raged on, yet America had at last embarked on a battle not solely with muskets, but with purpose and significance. If Washington was the slap, Baltimore was the counterpunch. In the wake of the flames that consumed the capital, British forces turned their gaze toward Baltimore, a bustling port city, and haven for privateers who had been a thorn in the side of British shipping. With their spirits high from triumph in Washington, the British believed that Baltimore would surrender just as effortlessly. They were mistaken. As the Redcoats drew near in the heart of September 1814, Baltimore stood poised and prepared. In the heart of the city, local citizens, laborers, and even those bound by chains, toiled tirelessly day and night, weaving their efforts into the very fabric of its fortifications. Over 10,000 dedicated volunteers came together, digging trenches, constructing earthen walls, and fortifying Fort McHenry with formidable cannons. This was not destined to be an easy journey. In a tale of military cunning, the British devised a classic two-pronged assault, launching a land attack from the east while simultaneously unleashing a naval bombardment from the Patapsco River. Yet from the very start, the path took an unexpected turn. General Robert Ross, the very figure who had paraded victoriously into Washington, met his fate early in the land battle at the hands of American sharpshooters. His passing struck a heavy chord within the hearts of the British, sending their leadership into a flurry of uncertainty. As the waves crashed and the winds howled, the British fleet unleashed a relentless 25-hour bombardment upon the steadfast walls of Fort McHenry. Rockets blazed a brilliant trail through the heavens. Throughout the night, the fort was rocked by the relentless thunder of explosions, yet the Guardians stood resolute. They stood resolute, unwavering in their defiance, as the fort quaked beneath the relentless barrage. And so, it was that the dawn of September 14th arrived. As the smoke dissipated and tranquility enveloped the harbour, the British awaited the sight of a white flag. What they beheld was something entirely different, a grand American flag billowing proudly above the fort's ramparts. That flag, crafted by the skilled hands of Mary Pickersgill, soared 30 feet high, fluttering in the morning breeze as a bold defiance against the Empire. Amidst the unfolding drama, aboard a British vessel, there stood an American lawyer by the name of Francis Scott Key, observing the scene with keen interest. He arrived with the intent to negotiate a prisoner release. Yet the sights of that night stirred something within him, compelling him to pen a poem. What is the first line? Oh, can you behold the beauty that greets us with the first light of dawn? The British came to understand that Baltimore would stand strong against their efforts. They retreated, their pride shattered. This moment showcased the unwavering spirit of America, not through grand oratory, but through sheer determination, hard-fought battles, and an unyielding resolve to stand firm. Baltimore emerged victorious, and in that triumph, it rekindled faith in the American endeavor. A charred city ignited the struggle, yet a besieged stronghold kindled the essence of self. Following Baltimore, a transformation unfolded. Once upon a time, the United States found itself in a moment of shame on the global stage, but then, like a phoenix rising, it stood tall and resolute. The British, anticipating a swift conclusion to the conflict, with a striking victory in Washington, found themselves confronted with escalating resistance and diminishing successes. Their war machine was grinding to a halt. Amidst the strains of logistics and the weight of political pressure, they found themselves reconsidering the implications of prolonging the conflict. Baltimore's defense transcended mere military triumph. It was a victory that resonated deeply within the minds and hearts of the people. It provided American negotiators with a solid foundation to build upon. In the serene city of Ghent, nestled in what is now Belgium, a new chapter unfolded as British and American diplomats engaged in discussions that took on a fresh intensity. Initially, the expectations set forth by the British were quite high. They sought to establish a Native American buffer state in the Midwest, gain control over sections of the Great Lakes, and secure specific territorial concessions. Yet the American diplomats, notably John Quincy Adams and Henry Clay, stood their ground unwaveringly. They engaged in a spirited debate, drawing strength from their unwavering resolve, rather than succumbing to despair. And then the British began to waver. The conflict in Europe had sapped their strength. In the aftermath of Napoleon's reign, Britain found itself grappling with its own internal turmoil. Trade disruptions cast a shadow over both economies. The steadfast determination of the Americans to stand firm after Washington and their triumphant defense of Baltimore had transformed the narrative. This conflict, as it unfolded, revealed that victory could not be achieved through flames alone. On the eve of December 24, 1814, a momentous agreement was forged between the two sides, known as the Treaty of Ghent. It essentially proclaimed a stalemate. No territory was exchanged, no compensation was given. The issue of impressment, a pivotal factor that propelled the US into war, went unmentioned. Yet both sides were reluctant to acknowledge their loss. Thus, they reached a consensus to revert to the conditions that existed prior to the conflict, restoring the world to its former state. In a curious turn of events, one of the most significant American triumphs, the Battle of New Orleans, unfolded a fortnight after the treaty was inked, a testament to the sluggish pace of 19th century communication. Yet that triumph secured the heartfelt victory that the people of America longed for. The war concluded not with a grand capitulation, but rather with a shared indifference. Yet for the United States, it seemed to carry a deeper significance. They emerged from the flames that consumed their capital, gathered strength in Baltimore, and departed with their sovereignty and pride unscathed. And so, it was the Second War of Independence, as it would be known by many, reached its conclusion. The embers of Washington glowed softly, their warmth lingering in the air. Yet from those ashes, a fresh tapestry of American identity was starting to weave itself together. The conflagration of Washington transcended mere military strategy. It evolved into a pivotal chapter in the nation's collective memory. In the peculiar manner that history tends to unfold, that moment of profound shame gave rise to something subtly formidable: essence. In the wake of events, the spirit of the American people was heavy with a sense of defeat. Their once mighty capital lay in ruins, a mere shadow of its former glory, reduced to smoldering rubble. Their leader had vanished into the night. In the heat of conflict, their forces crumbled, succumbing to the chaos of war. Yet the tale was far from over. Indeed, the journey was only just starting to unfold. From the ashes of that devastation arose a united determination to transcend the shadows of grief. The rebirth of Washington transcended mere bricks and mortar. It was a tale woven with threads of rebellion, recollection, and rebirth. The new Capitol and White House would rise as enduring symbols of the nation's spirit and resilience. The endeavor of reconstruction served as a powerful declaration to the global stage. We remained present, and it unfolded beautifully. The conflict may have concluded in a draw on the official records, yet within the hearts and minds of the American people, it transformed into a tale of its own, rich with meaning and interpretation. The notion that a fledgling chaotic republic could challenge the mightiest empire on earth, endure flames and bruises, yet remain unyielded, started to forge a profound sense of uniqueness. The War of 1812, especially the fiery event that engulfed its capital, signified a pivotal moment of maturation for the United States. It also ushered in transformation. The government began to prioritize defense with greater urgency. The coastal fortifications saw enhancements, standing stronger against the tides of time. Once overlooked in the wake of the Revolution, the military began to flourish with newfound funding and a more strategic approach to its organization. Civilians began to perceive themselves in a new light, no longer merely as isolated citizens of various states, but as active contributors to a collective national endeavor. The flames etched their presence into the fabric of culture. Once upon a time, a poem penned by Francis Scott Key, born from the valiant defense of Baltimore, would eventually rise to become the anthem of a nation. More than a century later, the name White House, emerging from the Restoration after the fire, took root and became a lasting symbol. The tale of Dolly Madison's courage transformed into a legend, and the city that once appeared as a mere compromise blossomed into the undeniable heart of the nation. In due course, even the British found themselves embracing the event with a certain bashful hush. They had triumphed on the battlefield, yet one could say they stumbled in the realm of diplomacy. Their flames may have scorched the walls, yet the spirit remains unyielding. Ultimately, the conflagration of Washington marked not merely a nadir, it was the moment that challenged and demonstrated the resilience of a young republic still finding its footing. And that fire, once intended to bring shame, became a crucible that ignited the very essence of the American spirit. In the days of yore, the path to motherhood frequently commenced while a young girl still danced on the edge of her childhood. In a world where a girl's worth, her standing, and even her hope for redemption were intricately tied to her capacity to bring forth life, particularly male heirs, the narrative unfolds with profound implications. In the present day, we often view motherhood as a personal choice or a biological milestone, yet in the Middle Ages it was woven into the very fabric of societal duty. Women were not merely anticipated to embrace motherhood, they were fated to fulfill that role. The journey began with the union of two souls. In the realm of humble farmers, it often unfolds through families keen to unite their land toil or herds. Within the circles of the elite unions were often strategic maneuvers on a grand board of power. In a world where alliances are forged through sacred bonds, a young, noble girl may find herself promised in marriage. By the tender age of 12 or 13, or even younger, her future entwined with that of another through the solemnity of betrothal. Fertility was not merely a gift, it served as a powerful tool in the dance of negotiation. As soon as the vows were exchanged, the weight of expectation to bring new life into the world settled upon them. A woman who struggled to conceive after a year or two found herself the subject of hushed conversations filled with suspicion, pity, and at times accusations of moral or spiritual shortcomings. Should a lady of high standing find herself unable to bear an heir, her lord might pursue an annulment, or in darker times take to the company of a mistress more suited to the task. Within the circles of the elite, a woman's ability to bear children was regarded as a treasure of the realm. Empires flourished or crumbled, all hinging on the fate of a queen's ability to bear a strong male successor. The arrival of pregnancy brought forth not only joy, but also a wave of unease. In a world where every decision could tip the balance, the stakes loomed large. A boy could signify the enduring legacy of a lineage. A daughter, you say, not without purpose, yet far from perfect. Peasant women, on the other hand, faced a different kind of burden. While the weight of dynastic expectations may have been lighter, the demands placed upon them remained just as significant. Young ones were seen as workers. A blossoming family might nurture the land, care for the animals, and perhaps, just perhaps, lend a hand to the parents as they age gracefully. Yet in a world where infant mortality loomed large and the mysteries of maternal health remained unsolved, each pregnancy unfolded like a daring wager. Motherhood emerged not as a choice, but as an expectation, a calling, and even a form of penance. In the teachings of the Church, it was said that Eve's transgression cast a shadow over women, binding them to the agony of childbirth. Thus motherhood emerged as a dual-edged sword, a sacred obligation intertwined with suffering. Women were celebrated for their quiet endurance, for accepting their roles with grace and without a word of dissent. In the realm of medieval thought, a woman without children was seen as an intriguing anomaly, at best, and a profound disappointment at worst. The womb was not a secluded place. It stood as a testament to collective ownership, a marvel of celestial engineering, and a legacy of lineage, all intertwined in a single entity. And for many women, it would shape not only their existence, but also their final moments. In the Middle Ages, childbirth resembled a fierce battleground where the woman in labor stood as the solitary warrior facing the trials of her journey alone. In this realm, the absence of doctors, clad in white coats, was palpable. The sterile instruments nowhere to be found, and the comfort of painkillers a distant dream. In those shadowy chambers, where the flickering light barely touched the wooden stools, herbal tinctures lined the shelves, and whispered prayers floated through the air. A haunting dread lingered, as if each breath could be the last in this fragile journey of life. Childbirth often unfolded within the familiar embrace of home. Regardless of their wealth, women typically brought new life into the world in the company of other women, midwives, family members, and neighbors all gathered around. Men seldom graced the scene. Indeed, the journey of childbirth was seen as a realm uniquely belonging to women, a space filled with both reverence and peril. A midwife may carry with her the wisdom of ages, a tapestry of knowledge woven through the threads of generations, yet she stands without the formal accolades of training. And should the winds of fate shift, if the baby turned in defiance, if the journey of labor faltered, if the shadows of hemorrhaging loomed, there was little that could be done to alter the course. Anticipation of pain lingered in the air. Indeed, it was a matter of theological necessity. In the teachings of the Church, it was believed that Eve's original sin had cast a shadow over women, binding them to the trials of childbirth. Thus, the experience of enduring that pain was frequently regarded as a mark of spiritual virtue. Calling out with too much fervor, such a notion could be seen as a flaw, or perhaps even a transgression. Some sought to alleviate the pain. Potions brewed from poppy mandrake or henbane could soften the sting of suffering, yet their unpredictability and potential peril loomed large. Women frequently turned to the guidance of saints, the power of charms, and the significance of ritual. The girdle of St. Margaret, a cherished talisman, was lovingly wrapped around the belly of a laboring woman, serving as a protective embrace for both her and her child. Holy relics found their resting place beneath beds, psalms echoed in the air, midwives with reverent gestures crossed themselves before severing the umbilical cord, and still the shadow of death lingered close. The loss of mothers during childbirth was a heart-wrenching reality. After the miracle of bringing new life into the world, women face perilous challenges that could lead to blood loss, infection, or the haunting presence of retained placenta even days later. Some emerged from the trials of labor only to fall prey to the relentless grip of puerperal fever in the days that followed. What we now understand was frequently the result of unclean hands or soiled linens. It is believed that for every 10 births, one mother faced the tragic fate of not surviving the experience. For women facing the challenges of multiple pregnancies, the situation grew increasingly dire. In those times, the occurrence of stillbirths was all too common. Little ones who arrive ahead of time, fragile and quiet. And when a child departed this world without the sacred rite of baptism, it stirred haunting inquiries about the fate of their soul. In this realm, the act of bringing forth life transcended mere biology. It was a dance with danger, a whisper of hope, and a testament of sacrifice where each new soul emerged teetering on the brink of mortality. The arrival of a child marked merely the start of an extraordinary journey. In the heart of their journey, the true challenge for both mother and child lay in the fight for survival. In the age of knights and castles, fate dealt its cards with an iron hand. In a time long past, it was a harsh reality that nearly half of all children did not see their 5th birthday. Some never had the chance to take their first breath, while others fell victim to illness before they could even take their first steps. The first year of a child's life was filled with peril. In a time when fevers, infections, and malnutrition roamed like merciless specters, the realm of medical knowledge lay shrouded in darkness, almost entirely absent. In the heart of this reality, it was the peasant mothers who carried the weight of it all. In their humble abodes with earthen floors amidst the company of animals, they faced the relentless battle against illness, drawing water from wells tainted by contamination. In the shadows of mortality, diarrhea, respiratory infections, and tetanus emerged as frequent harbingers of fate. In a time long past, the world was devoid of antibiotics vaccines and the sanctuary of hospitals. Even a slight fever can weave a tale of unforeseen tragedy. While noble women enjoyed cleaner surroundings and superior access to food, they were not shielded from the trials that life could bring. Illnesses held no regard for status, be it plague, smallpox, or measles. They gathered both the noble and the humble. Indeed, the elevated birth rates within noble families transcended mere heir production. They were intricately tied to the delicate dance of survival in the face of statistical odds. One son simply didn't satisfy the yearning for more. Backups were essential. This harsh truth influenced the way mothers perceived their little ones, particularly during their formative years. In times gone by, it was not unusual for parents to hold off on bestowing a name upon their child until the delicate days of infancy had slipped away. Some mothers held back from forging deep connections, immediately not from a lack of warmth, but from a place of necessity. Grief often came knocking at the door, a presence that felt all too known. To lay one child to rest was a heart-wrenching sorrow. To lay several to rest was a familiar task. Yet love still thrived. Intense yearning, all-consuming affection. It appears in letters and wills, in prayers inscribed in the margins of manuscripts. It unfolds in the journey of mothers who traverse great distances to seek healing herbs, or summon a priest for a final baptism at the deathbed. They embrace the depth of their loss, honoring the memories of their children. With every ounce of their being, they battled for them. The weight of emotions was staggering. In a world devoid of therapists, where mourning leave was a distant dream and grief counselors were but a whisper of hope, the silence loomed heavy. A mother may experience the profound sorrow of losing a baby on Monday, yet by Tuesday she finds herself tending to her daily tasks once more. The fields awaited the gentle touch of the plough, yearning for transformation. The flames yearned for a gentle breath of life. Life pressed on, indifferent to the readiness of your heart. In the realm of medieval motherhood, hope and heartbreak intertwined each moment, a delicate dance of joy and sorrow. Each arrival into the world was nothing short of a wondrous event. Each act of survival stands as a quiet rebellion against overwhelming challenges. For noble women, the journey of motherhood transcended the personal realm, weaving itself into the very fabric of political life. In the grand tapestry of the realm, a noblewoman's womb stood as a treasure of the crown, a sacred vessel weaving together alliances, dynasties, and the intricate threads of succession plans. Her pregnancies were monitored with a fervor that rivaled the most intense battles of medieval times. Each child, particularly a son, represented either a triumph in strategy or a mark of public defeat. The weight of expectation bore down heavily. Upon the sacred union of marriage, the noblewoman's primary purpose became the creation of heirs, not merely children, authentic, thriving young boys. A queen who faltered in her duties faced the peril of being discarded. Rulers may pursue the dissolution of their unions, take lovers, or embark on the quest for entirely new brides. Simply inquire with Anne of Bohemia or Catherine of Aragon. A noblewoman without heirs was not merely an object of sympathy. She was seen as a pawn, without value in the grand game of politics. Even with the arrival of new life, the mother's journey continued her tasks, far from complete. Her role transformed into a vigilant watch filled with unease. She wasn't the one to nurture the children directly. In the realm of daily care, it was often the wet nurses, governesses, and tutors who took on the pivotal roles. Yet she bore the weight of ensuring their education, safeguarding their futures, and protecting their reputations with unwavering vigilance. Women, destined to raise future monarchs, frequently faced a relentless tide of courtly whispers, intricate power plays, and cunning maneuvering. From the moment they took their first breath, their fates were woven into a tapestry of expectation, destined to play roles they had yet to understand. And what of the daughters? They were tokens of union, frequently dispatched to distant realms, as youths occasionally never to find their way back home. Yet the noblewomen were not merely aloof or ornamental figures. Some held great power by way of their offspring. Eleanor of Aquitaine was not merely a mother to kings, she was their advisor, their critic, and in one remarkable instance, their challenger. Margaret of Anjou took up arms, fiercely rallying her forces to protect her son's rightful claim to the throne. Isabella of France masterfully crafted the downfall of her husband, all in the name of her son. These mothers were anything but passive. These were cunning strategists, cloaked in elegance and charm. Motherhood wove itself into a tapestry rich with both joy and sorrow. Tragedies, afflictions, betrayals, and banishment. The lives of royal children were shrouded in peril. As one ascends the ranks, the stakes grow ever more perilous. Emotionally, the noble mothers existed in a state of perpetual tension. They held a position of importance, yet often lacked the power to act. Their affection for their children was genuine, yet frequently intertwined with obligation. They were called upon to relinquish their bodies, their privacy, and even their nurturing instincts for the greater good of their household. While noblewomen upheld the grandeur of dynasties, peasant mothers shouldered the harsh realities of existence, unyielding, unvarnished, and devoid of glamour. In the world of the medieval peasant woman, motherhood transcended mere stages. It embodied the very essence of existence. It started in the tender years, stretched into the twilight, and seldom granted a moment's pause along the way. In those times, it was common for women to wed in their mid-teens, embarking on a journey of motherhood that often saw them expecting almost continuously throughout their 20s and 30s. In a world where reliable birth control was but a distant dream, and the Church stood firm in its condemnation of any form of contraception, the spectre of pregnancy loomed large, an ever-present reality. With every child that came into the world, there was a new mouth to nourish, yet also the promise of another set of hands to toil upon the earth. In the humble abodes of peasant women, the miracle of life unfolded without the presence of doctors, amidst the absence of clean linens and often devoid of the sacred space of privacy. A neighbor midwife may lend her support, or perhaps she will choose not to. In the quiet solitude of barns and fields, some women brought new life into the world only to return to their toil within mere hours, their hearts heavy with the hope of surviving beneath the vast open sky. In those times, the loss of life during or following childbirth was a familiar tale, and apologies were seldom spoken for such tragedies. Life unfolded with a harshness, a swift pace, and a lack of sentiment. The journey of nurturing a child commenced the instant the umbilical cord was severed. Maternity leave was a concept that simply did not exist. Little ones were wrapped snugly and either held close to their mothers as they toiled or placed in cradles beside the warm hearth, watched over by older siblings or sometimes left to their own devices. Weeping was not nurtured. It melded seamlessly into the cadence of everyday labor. In the gentle embrace of everyday life, mothers imparted wisdom to their children, guiding them through the rhythms of feeding chickens, gathering firewood, weeding gardens, and mending clothes. Even the littlest ones were called upon to gather water or deliver messages. Each young soul had a role to play. Childhood, as we envision it, pure, safeguarded, brimming with playthings and education, was nothing more than a mirage. And yet amidst the trials there blossomed a warmth of affection. In the gentle embrace of night, mothers wove melodies of lullabies, skillfully braiding their daughters' hair and murmuring soft prayers as they nestled their little ones beside them on the humble straw beds they shared. Affection unfolded in the flavors shared, in the embrace of comfort, in the selflessness offered. A mother sharing her bread with a hungry child, a mother walking barefoot so her son could wear her only pair of shoes to church. The journey of peasant motherhood unfolded as a testament to resilience. These women bore not only the weight of their children, but also the heavy loads of firewood, the weight of expectations, and the shadows of loss. Their shoulders sagged under the burden of a relentless world, one that continued to turn even as they laid a child to rest. Yet onward they pressed. In the realm of the medieval age, the act of nourishing an infant intertwined the threads of nature and the fabric of social order. For many mothers, particularly those from humble backgrounds, the act of breastfeeding was an unwavering commitment. It unfolded with an air of inevitability, a fundamental thread woven into the fabric of existence, essential for the dance of life itself. In a time when the formula was but a dream and the milk from animals posed dangers often tainted and uncertain, the journey of nurturing was fraught with peril. The body of a mother served as the sole thread connecting life and hope. In the humble homes of peasant mothers, the act of breastfeeding extended far beyond infancy, often continuing into the tender years of toddlerhood, driven by necessity and the bonds of nurturing. The act of breastfeeding served a dual purpose. It not only provided sustenance for the child, but also functioned as a primitive means of birth control, gently postponing the return of fertility, an unintentional blessing, in a realm where pregnancies were a frequent occurrence. In the heart of the fields, these resilient women toiled their infants securely fastened to their backs. They would take moments to nourish their little ones, seamlessly weaving care into the rhythm of planting and harvesting. Yet within the grand halls of noble households, the rules took on a different form. For women of high society, the act of breastfeeding was frequently viewed as unworthy of their status, seen as physically exhausting, emotionally burdensome, and socially inappropriate for a woman of elegance. Behold the arrival of the wet nurse. In a time when status dictated the roles of women, there existed a group of resilient individuals, chosen for their vitality and nurturing ability, who dedicated themselves to the sacred task of nourishing the offspring of the elite. In their lives, they frequently shared a home with the child, weaving intricate and profound connections, at times even surpassing the ties that bind a mother to her offspring. The Church found itself in a whirlwind of emotions regarding this matter. Some theologians expressed concern that a child nurtured by a woman of questionable virtue might inherit her transgressions. Some held the view that wet nurses served as an essential support for women, allowing them to maintain their fertility and keep the lineage flowing with heirs. After all, a queen must not squander precious moments tending to one child when her destiny calls for her to bear the next. The care of infants in those times was undeniably severe when viewed through the lens of modernity. Swaddling was a practice embraced by many. Infants were snugly swaddled in fabric, a practice aimed at guiding their limbs into alignment and encouraging stillness. In a time long past, the humble diaper took on many forms, often crafted from repurposed rags or soft moss, nestled within cloth changed only on rare occasions. Baths were a rare indulgence. In times gone by, the discomfort of teething was often soothed with the use of charms and the wisdom of folk remedies. Cribs were a rarity if they were even a thing. In the tender embrace of family life, little ones frequently found themselves nestled beside their parents, a practice that, while filled with warmth, also carried the shadow of potential danger, as the risk of accidental smothering loomed quietly in the night. A sudden wave of illness swept in. From the soothing embrace of herbal infusions to the heartfelt whispers of prayers to the saints, the remedies unfolded like a tapestry of tradition and belief. In the somber shadows of belief, the loss of a child, particularly in those tender early days, was often seen as a decree from above or even a harsh retribution for the mother's transgressions. Yet mothers persevered in their efforts. They cradled, comforted, nourished, and whispered sweet melodies in tongues forgotten by time. In the midst of the muck and gloom of medieval existence, love carved its path, illuminating the darkest corners. In the heart of medieval Europe, the essence of motherhood transcended mere physical toil. It was a journey of the soul as well. The Church held a strong influence over the journey of pregnancy, birth, and the art of parenting. Every moment, from the very beginning to the final farewell, was imbued with profound significance, and the essence of a mother was perpetually examined. In the time leading up to childbirth, women frequently sought the intercession of saints for their safeguarding. Saint Margaret of Antioch held a special place in the hearts of expectant mothers. It was said that she held the power to safeguard them in the throes of labor, for she had once bravely come forth unscathed from the very belly of a dragon. Her prayers echoed through the air, her likeness adorned on cherished tokens. Her name floated softly through the waves of pain. In the perspective of the Church, the act of bringing forth life was shrouded in the shadows of transgression. Through the tale of Eve, women came to believe that the agony of childbirth was a consequence of humanity's first transgression. In the midst of the purest joy as a child entered the world, a mother found herself shadowed by a deep-seated sense of guilt. Should she meet her end in the throes of childbirth, devoid of confession, she would find herself teetering on the edge of spiritual danger. With the arrival of the newborn, the sacred rite of baptism emerged as the next pivotal chapter in the unfolding tale. The dread of limbo loomed large. In times long past, it was commonly held that if a child departed this world before receiving the sacred rite of baptism, their soul would be barred from the gates of heaven. In times of dire need, midwives held the sacred duty of performing emergency baptisms, stepping in when a newborn's fragile state left little room for delay and the presence of a priest was not immediately at hand. The concept of eternal damnation for an innocent newborn was a chilling notion. Yet it was a familiar theme woven into the fabric of medieval theology. Where doctrine faltered, superstition wove its intricate tapestry. Mothers adorned cradles with charms, suspended herbs above doorways, or inscribed protective symbols in ashes upon the floor. Whispers of the evil eye, the mischief of malevolent fairies, and the haunting presence of demonic spirits were cast as the culprits behind the sorrow of sickly babies and the heartache of miscarriages. In hushed tones, certain mothers shared hidden names for their little ones, weaving a protective spell against the spirits that lurked ever eager to snatch them away. The church held sway over the manner in which women were welcomed back into society following childbirth. In the days that followed a new life's arrival, a sacred ceremony unfolded typically around the 40-day mark, serving as a rite of purification. In those times, a mother was viewed as spiritually impure, destined to remain away from the sacred gatherings of the community. The ceremony was designed to embrace her return and shower her with blessings, yet it carried an undercurrent of gentle admonition. The arrival of new life, while essential, cast a shadow upon the journey. Amidst the stern doctrines, countless mothers discovered solace in their beliefs. In the sacred dance of faith, prayer wrapped around the soul like a shield, while ritual whispered comfort into the heart. Hope flickered in the space where psalms met sorrow, a delicate thread weaving through the tapestry of existence. Once a child emerged from the fragile days of infancy, the journey of medieval motherhood unfolded, crafting a being capable of enduring the harsh realities of a ruthless world. And this signified a journey of steadfast resolve, confronting harsh realities, and frequently the bittersweet parting of ways. For peasant mothers, learning transcended the pages of books. It was woven into the very fabric of survival skills. From the very first steps a child took, the world around them beckoned for their participation. Young girls joined forces to collect firewood, tend to the chickens, and haul water. Young lads discovered the art of caring for creatures, wielding tools with skill, and shadowing their fathers as they toiled in the fields. In the beginning, it was the mothers who took on the role of guides, imparting their wisdom as they taught their children the art of kneading dough, spinning wool, and mending a beloved, worn tunic. The lessons were tangible, urgent, and shared like treasured legacies. Discipline held a firm hand, yet it was not devoid of compassion. In a realm where defiance could lead to demise, a wayward child might find themselves submerged in a well or trampled by a steed. In such a harsh landscape, rigidity was a manifestation of affection. Discipline was often meted out, yet so too were moments of recognition and reward. A comforting dish, a gentle peck on the brow, a melody dancing by the fire. Love and guidance frequently intertwined. Within the circles of the noble, the pursuit of knowledge unfolded in a unique manner. Young lads were dispatched to embark on their journeys as pages or squires, frequently before they reached the age of 10. In a time when the world was steeped in tradition, young girls found themselves nestled within the serene walls of convents or the opulent halls of noble households. Here they were gently guided through the art of etiquette, the delicate craft of embroidery, and the subtle nuances of courtly behavior, preparing them for the intricate dance of society. For esteemed matriarchs, this signified the poignant act of releasing their offspring at a tender age, often never to nurture them in their formative years. That didn't imply a lack of concern. In the delicate weave of correspondence, noble women poured forth their heartfelt worries, expressing profound care for the well-being of their children, the sanctity of their unions, and the preservation of their esteemed names. A devoted mother may not always be there to tuck her child in at night, yet she skillfully orchestrates their destinies from the shadows, much like a master strategist in a game of chess. Yet the weight of separation bore heavily on the heart. In a world where children find themselves in the care of unfamiliar faces, nurtured by those not of their blood, and bound in marriage by the tender age of 15, the tapestry of their lives is woven with threads of unexpected connections and early transitions. A mother may receive the heartbreaking news of her child's death through a messenger, or perhaps she may never hear it at all. And yet, in the tapestry of medieval life, mothers wove threads of connection through prayers whispered in the quiet of night, through cherished keepsakes passed down, and through the rich traditions that bound them to their loved ones. They wove melodies, shared names, and nurtured traditions, intricately intertwining their essence into the lives of their children, regardless of distance. In the tapestry of medieval life, motherhood wove a narrative not of clinging, but of resilience and strength. It was a journey of readiness, embracing the act of release time and again, with no promises in sight. In the shadows of history, the voices of medieval mothers seldom found their way onto the pages of time. They may not have filled pages with their thoughts or shared their tales in print, yet their essence lingers in the soothing songs that echo through time, the customs lovingly handed down, the sacred words etched into the stone of chapels, and the enduring spirit of the children they nurtured against all challenges. Their love unfolded in a way that felt entirely different from ours. In that space, the absence of baby showers lingered, and the walls remained bare of ultrasound photos. Affection whispered softly, wrapped in practicality, often hidden behind the walls built to shield the heart. In a world where countless children met untimely ends, to embrace love with all its intensity was to invite the possibility of profound sorrow. And still, mothers loved with a fierce intensity, a patient heart, and an unwavering commitment. In the quiet corners of medieval texts, we uncover whispers of love, a mother's hand scrawling her lost child's name, beside a prayer queen's pouring their hearts into letters, seeking news of their offspring, battered shoes resting on graves and folk tales where mothers barter their very lives for the safety of their children. These were not marks of frailty. In a realm where the essence of motherhood was perpetually challenged, these were bold declarations of resilience. Loss lingered like a shadow always by my side. In the shadows of existence, where stillbirths whisper of lost potential fevers, dance with the spectre of illness, plagues sweep through like a relentless tide, and the echoes of war resonate in the hearts of many. A mother might nurture 10 children, yet find herself mourning six. In the quiet corners of the heart, mourning unfolds a silent companion that lingers through the years. Grief lingered in the shadows, unvoiced yet ever present, and yet they persevered. They faced the trials of childbirth without the aid of medicine. They faced the heavy burden of shame and the heart-wrenching sorrow of losing child after child. They faced the watchful eyes of the church, the relentless expectations of society, and the boundaries set by their own bodies. Some faced the harsh reality of violence at the hands of their husbands. Some faced the harsh realities of exile, the grip of poverty, or the pangs of starvation. Yet amidst the trials, they embraced, shielded, guided, and in the most wondrous way believed. Their legacy lives on, not etched in stone, but woven into the fabric of the generations that came after. They are the silent figures from our past, the ones who nourished us, dressed us, and wove the fabric of our existence together in ways we may never fully understand. They forged the very essence of family and resilience, defying the odds that whispered they should not prevail. In the realm of the medieval motherhood, bore no halo, nor did it cradle in gentleness. It was a journey filled with challenges, intricacies, sorrow and courage. It danced between joy and sorrow, yet remained essential in every moment. In every way, these women were the quiet creators of the medieval realm. And though history seldom etched their names into its annals, their toils sculpted empires, their decisions forged destinies, and their sacrifices resonate within us long after the cradles were emptied and the prayers faded into silence. In an age long past before our eyes beheld the moons of Jupiter or the majestic rings of Saturn, humanity gazed up at the vast night sky, filled with awe and equipped with only the simplest of instruments. In a time before the lens of discovery, the universe stretched out like an immense distant tapestry, inviting yet forever beyond our grasp. With nothing but their keen sight, individuals observed the stars, charted the planets, and noted the changing seasons. Ah, but even that extraordinary eye, as captivating as it may be, is bound by its own constraints. Throughout the ages, humanity has looked to the heavens weaving tales and interpretations rather than delving into the scientific study of the vast expanse above. In the mists of time, ancient cultures wove tales from the stars, transforming constellations into rich narratives. In the vast tapestry of the cosmos, Orion stood as a mighty hunter, while Scorpio slinked through the shadows, a scorpion dispatched by the divine. In ancient times, the Greeks referred to the celestial bodies that roamed the night sky as planets or wanderers for their unique dance that set them apart from the steadfast stars. Yet the true nature of their existence remained a mystery to all. Could they be blazing chariots, shimmering orbs, celestial lights? There was no means for anyone to peer deeper and uncover the truth. To observe was to stand beneath the vast expanse of stars, capturing the wonders that unfolded before the eyes. In the hands of Islamic astronomers, the astrolabe emerged as a remarkable instrument, guiding the way through the celestial dance of the heavens with astonishing accuracy. In ancient times, the Babylonians and Mayans crafted intricate calendars, skillfully foreseeing the dance of eclipses in the sky. In ancient times, the Greeks crafted intricate mechanical wonders, such as the Antikythera mechanism designed to unravel the mysteries of planetary positions. Yet the depths of perception were limited, and thus the cosmos lingered as an enigma rather than a tangible truth. The notion of enhancing sight was at its core a fascinating intrigue. While the concept of reflection was well grasped and mirrors were commonplace, the enchanting dance of refraction, the way light bends through a lens, remained an elusive mystery to many. In a time when the science of optics was just beginning to take shape, the thought of turning its gaze toward the stars had yet to cross anyone's mind. What's truly remarkable is that no one ever envisioned the sky itself could transform. The celestial realm was seen as flawless, everlasting, and steadfast, the realm of divine order as envisioned by Aristotle. In stark contrast, the earth was a realm of corruption and chaos. This conviction stifled the advancement of science for ages. What compels one to create a device to scrutinize something that was already deemed perfect? And yet the yearning lingered hidden within the inquiries that humanity persistently posed. What is the essence of the stars? What makes certain lights dance while others remain still? Is Earth genuinely the focal point of it all? All of those questions lingered in the air, suspended above a realm that had no means to gaze beyond its limits. It was an unexpected turn of events, sparked by the ingenuity of glassmakers, the creativity of tinkerers, and the inquisitive spirit of a certain Dutchman, altering the course of history forever. In a time long past, when the cosmos was but a distant thought, the ancients found themselves unwittingly manipulating light, though their intentions lay elsewhere. Indeed, the first lenses probably came about by sheer happenstance. When crafted with precision, transparent crystals such as quartz or beryl possess the enchanting ability to magnify the world around them. These stones, smoothed and shaped by the gentle caress of time or the artistry of hands, would sometimes unveil a curious secret. Through their lens, objects appeared grander, more imposing, as if the world itself had been magnified. To our forebears, it surely appeared as if woven from enchantment. In the dawn of the first millennium BCE, the Assyrians shaped a remarkable artifact known today as the Nimrud lens, a striking piece of rock crystal that may have served to magnify or focus light, revealing the ingenuity of its creators. The true purpose remains a topic of lively discussion. Could it have been a component of a scientific instrument, or was it merely for adornment? In any case, it reveals a singular truth. It was a time when humans began to uncover the secrets of light, realizing that it could be shaped and guided in wondrous ways. Imagine a time in ancient Rome where the clever invention of reading stones emerged hemispherical pieces of glass that sat atop texts, magnifying the letters hidden beneath them. They served as the forerunners to magnifying glasses, a vital connection in the unfolding tale of optics. Though these instruments did not traverse the heavens, they offered humanity a glimpse of what lies beyond. The vision could be improved. However, the true transformation unfolded not in Rome, but during the remarkable era of the Islamic Golden Age. In the 10th and 11th centuries, a remarkable figure named Ibn al-Haytham, known in the West as Al-Hasan, transformed the understanding of light in profound ways. Though he wasn't crafting telescopes himself, his contributions paved the way for the understanding of their future functionality. Al-Hasan embarked on a journey of discovery, experimenting with glass mirrors and water to unravel the mysteries of how light traveled and bent. He suggested that vision did not emanate from the eyes, as was commonly thought, but instead that light found its way into the eyes. A realization so clear in our time that it seems almost unbelievable it stirred debate in the past. In his remarkable tome on optics, he unveiled the principles of refraction and reflection, illuminating the science of light long before Europe would embark on its own journey of rediscovery. While these brilliant minds did not reach for the stars with their theories, they laid down the essential framework that would inspire future inventors to soar. Their writings, when rendered into Latin, journeyed across medieval Europe, paving the way for the remarkable optical explorations of the Renaissance. In the 13th century, the fascinating realm of optics began to weave itself into the fabric of daily existence, not through the stars above, but through a more intimate struggle, poor vision. In the vibrant workshops of Italy, especially near Venice, artisans of glass began to shape lenses aiding the wise monks and learned scholars in their quest to decipher ancient manuscripts. The outcome, eyewear. In the distant past, around the year 1285, the first spectacles emerged their origins, tracing back to the enchanting cities of Pisa or Venice. They were humble curved lenses encased in wood or metal, crafted to perch delicately upon the bridge of the nose. In a world devoid of temples, there were no arms to cradle behind the ears. With a gentle pinch, they secured them in place or held them aloft with steady hands. Yet the impact was nothing short of transformative. At long last, individuals found the strength to combat the encroaching shadows of diminishing sight. Reading glasses quickly gained favor, particularly among the clergy and the educated elite. In their later years, the monks found themselves immersed in the sacred texts, their understanding deepening with age. Scholars might delve into ancient texts, their minds ignited by the flickering candlelight, lost in thought, until the stars fade from the sky. In a world of wonder, glassmakers found themselves at the heart of a thriving industry, their hands crafting beauty, even as the mysteries of physics danced just beyond their grasp. Yet this newfound fascination with magnification sowed a seed in the shared consciousness. If glass has the power to reveal the minute, might it also unveil the far-off? The jump didn't happen all at once. For ages, the art of crafting spectacles has been a pursuit centered on personal desires, aiding individuals in reading texts and threading their needles. Yet in the shadows, an understanding of convex and concave lenses quietly blossomed. Craftsmen embarked on a journey of experimentation with the forms of lenses. In the annals of knowledge, scholars meticulously transcribed and expanded upon ancient Arabic manuscripts that delved into the mysteries of refraction. The art of tinkering took on grander aspirations. The Renaissance, a time of fervent rediscovery and bold reinvention, stoked the flames of this passion. In a realm of curiosity, experimenters embarked on a journey intertwining lenses with a spirit of playfulness and a quest for true innovation. And in due course, a curious soul uncovered a configuration that yielded an unforeseen outcome. It drew faraway things near. In the annals of history, one figure stands out, Hans Lippershey, a Dutch spectacle maker. It was around the year 1608 when he crafted a remarkable device, one that could bring distant objects into sharp focus, forever changing our view of the world. It may not have been flawless, yet it served its purpose. In a moment of brilliance, he crafted a humble tube adorned with two lenses, giving birth to what would be known as the spyglass. It possessed the ability to transform the very fabric of warfare guide, the paths of navigation, and soon reach into the depths of the cosmos. Yet it would not be Lippershey who would cast his gaze upon the heavens. Such a task would require a unique intellect, a blend of analytical prowess and theatrical flair, wholly fearless in the pursuit of cosmic mysteries. As whispers of Hans Lippershey's spyglass traveled to Italy, one visionary perceived a possibility that eluded the rest, a chance to confront the very essence of the universe itself. Once upon a time, there was a man named Galileo Galilei, a mathematics professor hailing from Pisa. He possessed a remarkable talent for experimentation and harbored a profound skepticism towards the truths that were widely accepted. Upon learning of the Dutch invention in 1609, he felt a spark of inspiration. His ambition was not merely to replicate it, but to enhance it beyond its original form. In just a few months, he crafted his very own telescope, starting with a modest 3x magnification, then advancing to an 8x, and before long, achieving an impressive 20x. In contrast to Lippershey's cumbersome device, Galileo's telescope emerged as a marvel sharper, longer, and elegantly crafted. With a sense of wonder, he directed it toward the heavens. It was a moment that would be etched in time. With his meticulously crafted lenses, Galileo unveiled the celestial wonders, becoming the first to gaze upon the heavens in all their glory. What he discovered fractured the fragile celestial ideal upheld by Aristotle and championed by the Church. The moon, for instance, revealed itself not as a smooth, glowing sphere. Galileo beheld the craters and mountains, revealing the beauty of imperfection. The Milky Way was not just a milky smear across the night sky. It was a magnificent tapestry woven from countless stars, each one a story waiting to be told. Jupiter, once perceived merely as a wandering light in the vast cosmos, revealed its secrets. 4 moons dancing around it, each a tiny celestial companion in the grand tapestry of the universe. He bestowed upon them the name of the Medicean stars, in honor of his patrons, yet in our time they are recognized as the Galilean moons Io Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. And in a twist that left many astounded, Venus revealed its phases, mirroring the moon, a clear testament to its journey around the sun rather than our Earth. With each observation, Galileo pierced the very core of the ancient geocentric model, unraveling its long-held beliefs. It appeared that the Earth was not the focal point of all existence. In a realm vast and unfathomable, the cosmos unfolded in ways that defied all expectations, revealing its peculiarities and ever-changing nature. In the year 1610, Galileo unveiled his remarkable discoveries in a work titled Sidereus Nuncius, the Starry Messenger, illuminating the wonders of the cosmos. It was an experience, a heavenly revelation. A throng of eager onlookers assembled to catch a glimpse of his telescope. Esteemed minds lauded his contributions. Unease settled over the Church, for it had transcended its role as merely a scientific tool. The telescope had turned perilous. It presented a narrative that challenged the long-held beliefs of centuries past. The celestial realm, once perceived as eternal and sacred, now appeared chaotic, dynamic, and brimming with life. Galileo wove a tapestry of discovery that transformed our understanding of the cosmos. He wielded vision like a blade. With a handful of finely crafted lenses, he ignited a conflict between what was seen and what was believed. The stars would forever be filled with whispers and echoes, never to know peace again. Galileo unveiled the wonders of 2 lenses in a tube. Yet his Galilean design, featuring a convex lens at the front and a concave lens at the eyepiece, faced its own constraints. With a limited perspective, hazy borders, and meager magnification, the experience faltered. Once you ventured past 30x, behold, Johannes Kepler, the renowned German mathematician, celebrated for his groundbreaking laws of planetary motion. In the year 1610, as he delved into the pages of the starry messenger, Kepler pondered a profound question. Is there room for improvement in the optics? In the span of a year, he crafted Dioptris, a work that transformed the very foundations of lens theory. Kepler envisioned replacing Galileo's concave eyepiece with an additional convex lens. The scene would turn on its head, yet the reward was monumental. A broader landscape, a clearer vision, and the promise of boundless magnification. It was not Kepler who crafted the device himself. He navigated a world filled with the delicate balance of support, the shadow of illness, and the weight of personal loss. Yet his blueprints traversed Europe, whispering secrets like forbidden treasures. The vision captivated the imaginative minds of creators. In the heart of Italy, Francesco Fontana meticulously fashioned elongated cumbersome instruments, some reaching an impressive 6 meters in length, boasting a remarkable 160x power. In the enchanting land of the Netherlands, the brilliant minds of Christian Huygens and his brother embarked on a quest, stretching their ambitions beyond 30 meters, all in pursuit of the elusive rings of Saturn. In the 1630s, a remarkable development unfolded in the realm of astronomy with the emergence of the first verified Keplerian telescopes, crafted by the skilled hands of the Jesuit astronomer Christoph Scheiner. He showcased one to the emperor in Vienna, captivating the courtiers with right-angled views of distant church spires, though they appeared all upside down. The flipped perspective was a modest cost for insight, yet it birthed a fresh marketplace, crafting eyepieces and ingenious mirror diagonals for terrestrial observation. In the bustling streets of Paris and London, skilled artisans vied for supremacy, showcasing their intricate creations of celestial and earthly models, each vying for the admiration of eager patrons. Telescopes had transcended their status as mere scientific curiosities. These were exquisite treasures for the elite, eager to boast of their encounters with ships long before they graced the harbor. In the midst of it all, Kepler's optics sparked a profound journey into the realm of science. With sharper images, astronomers could weave tales of sunspots, chart the valleys of the moon, and track the dance of Jupiter's moons with such precision that they envisioned using them as celestial timekeepers for longitude. Once a mere curiosity, the telescope was transforming into a vital tool, reshaping our understanding of the cosmos. With each additional inch of focal length, the tubes drooped and the glass became increasingly hazy. The competition ignited for telescopes that were more compact, yet possessed greater power. A challenge arose that would call forth a brilliant mind, one who despised the chaos of colors and held a deep affection for apples. There was a singular figure known as Isaac Newton. The contest for supremacy in vision was just beginning. It was merely transforming its form. By the mid-1600s, the refracting telescope had grown to astonishing sizes. In their quest for unparalleled magnification, astronomers embarked on a remarkable journey, crafting telescopes that stretched longer than entire houses, some reaching lengths of over 100 feet, all in an effort to conquer the vexing challenge of chromatic aberration. This was the vibrant, swirling hue that danced around luminous forms. As the light danced through the curved lenses, colors unfurled like a vibrant tapestry, weaving together into soft, ethereal halos. Regardless of the meticulous crafting of the lens, the colors danced, defiantly refusing to conform. Behold Isaac Newton, a figure who not only grasped the challenge at hand, but also stood resolute against its persistence. With a mind already celebrated for its brilliance in calculus and gravity, Newton set his sights on the fascinating realm of optics. What was his answer? Cease the use of lenses entirely. In the year 1668, a remarkable innovation emerged from the mind of Newton, the reflecting telescope. Rather than refracting light through glass, he employed a curved mirror to gather and concentrate it. Mirrors did not scatter light into vibrant rainbows. They didn't have to stretch for hundreds of feet. And most wonderfully, they could be brief, impactful, and exact. In Newton's ingenious design, a concave primary mirror nestled at the bottom of the tube captured the light, guiding it to a flat, diagonal mirror, which then directed the brilliance into the eyepiece, positioned on the side. Though it bore no resemblance to Galileo's famed spyglass, it proved to be effective in its own right. The image unfolded with a sharpness that captivated the eye, pristine in clarity, and above all, untouched by the chaos of color distortion. In the beginning, Newton chose to keep his remarkable invention shrouded in secrecy, though he preferred to avoid the spotlight. In 1672, he unveiled the telescope to the Royal Society, igniting a wave of excitement. Behold, a remarkable device, small yet boasting a performance that outshines refractors many times its stature. Now, from the comfort of their own backyards, observers could marvel at the intricate belts of Jupiter, the majestic rings of Saturn, and the rugged surface of the Moon, all revealed in breathtaking detail. Yet the reflecting telescope presented its own set of trials. Crafting a flawlessly parabolic mirror proved to be quite the challenge. In the beginning, they employed gleaming metal that alas lost its luster all too swiftly, demanding a relentless cycle of repolishing to restore its former glory. Yet at the heart of it all lay an idea that was nothing short of groundbreaking, its possibilities limitless. Newton's creation didn't instantly eclipse refractors, but it truly opened the door to new possibilities in the world of telescopes. Astronomers found themselves at a crossroads, faced with two intriguing paths: the allure of lenses or the mystery of mirrors. As the art of mirror crafting advanced, Newton's subtle defiance would transform the very foundation of astronomy itself. The cosmos remained the same, yet our perception of it had taken a remarkable stride into the unknown. As the 18th century unfolded, the telescope transcended its origins in the hands of solitary inventors, stepping boldly into a realm where national pride, royal patronage, and the fervor of scientific exploration intertwined. The telescope transformed from a mere clever invention into a formidable tool in the quest to unravel the mysteries of the universe. And throughout Europe, astronomers were harnessing it in ways previously unimagined. In this remarkable era, one name shines brightly: William Herschel. Once a musician hailing from Germany, Herschel embarked on a journey that led him to England, where he found himself captivated by the mysteries of the night sky, transforming into a self-taught astronomer. With the guidance of his ingenious sister, Caroline Herschel, he embarked on a remarkable journey, crafting grand reflecting telescopes in his backyard, melting metal casting mirrors, and meticulously grinding lenses by hand. One of his creations stretched an impressive 40 feet in length, featuring a mirror that spanned 4 feet in width. Once upon a time, there stood a magnificent telescope, the grandest of its kind in the entire world. And thus, he etched his name into the annals of time. In the year 1781, a remarkable event unfolded as Herschel unveiled Uranus, marking the discovery of the first new planet since the days of old. It trembled the very bedrock of astronomy. In an instant, the vastness of the solar system unfolded, revealing dimensions beyond the wildest dreams of humankind. Herschel pressed on undeterred. He mapped countless stars, documented nebulae, and introduced the term galaxy. He pondered the possibility that the soft, wispy clouds glimpsed through his telescope could be vast island universes drifting far beyond the reaches of our own. Caroline, in her own journey, emerged as a revered figure in the realm of astronomy. In her quest for the cosmos, she unveiled a multitude of comets, meticulously honed star charts, and brought forth revolutionary catalogues, all while laboring alongside her brother in the observatory. In another realm, the telescope was unveiling secrets, assisting scientists in unraveling age-old mysteries. In a quest for knowledge, astronomers harnessed its power to observe the transits of Venus, unveiling the secrets of the Earth's distance from the Sun. With the advent of telescopic measurements, the art of celestial navigation transformed, empowering ships to sail the vast oceans with an unmatched precision that was once thought impossible. The fate of naval empires was intricately tied to the heavens above. In the realm of optics, Newton's reflectors held their ground as prestigious tools, yet the emergence of achromatic refractors, ingeniously designed to minimize chromatic aberration through unique lens combinations, marked a new chapter in accessibility for enthusiasts and professionals alike. In a time of innovation, visionaries like John Dolland crafted lenses that transformed the way we see the world, enhancing clarity while banishing smears and bringing forth a vibrant spectrum of color correction. Across Europe, grand observatories were rising, their majestic forms taking shape in Paris, Berlin, and Greenwich. The realm of astronomy found its place within established institutions. In the grand tapestry of exploration, telescopes found their resting places not merely in the dusty corners of scholars' attics, but also in majestic towers, elegant domes, and the opulent grounds of royal estates. They transformed into icons of wisdom and dominion. In this enchanting era of celestial observation, the telescope emerged not merely as a tool to broaden our sight, but as a means to redefine our existence within the vast universe. With the arrival of the 19th century, the telescope embarked on a remarkable journey into its industrial era. What started as crafted tubes of brass and glass has transformed into finely tuned instruments made of steel, bronze, and cast iron. The heavens, once illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight, were now being transformed by the burgeoning power of factories, railroads, and the vastness of empire. The most significant transformation, dimensions. The size of telescopes was reaching astonishing proportions. In the enchanting land of Ireland, there lived a prosperous astronomer by the name of William Parsons, the illustrious 3rd Earl of Ross. With great ambition, he crafted what was at the time the grandest telescope the world had ever seen. In the year 1845, the magnificent Leviathan of Parsonstown emerged, featuring a grand mirror measuring 6 feet across and a remarkable tube stretching 50 feet in length. Hanging in the balance between two towering stone walls, it resembled a contraption of war rather than a tool of discovery. Yet it succeeded. Parsons gazed upon the mesmerizing dance of the swirling structure that was once known as the Whirlpool Nebula, now recognized as M51, and crafted one of the earliest sketches that captured the essence of a spiral galaxy. He stood at the edge of understanding, unaware of the vast distances that lay before him. Yet the drawing whispered secrets of a universe teeming with systems akin to our own, stretching far beyond the familiar embrace of the Milky Way. In the meantime, new observatories began to emerge across France, Russia, and America. Astronomers transformed from solitary visionaries in dark cloaks into collaborative researchers, supported by teams, funding, and government grants. As the telescopes journeyed westward, they sought the embrace of drier air, the clarity of unclouded skies, and the elevation of lofty heights. Among the renowned landmarks is the Lick Observatory in California, perched on the heights of Mount Hamilton since its establishment in 1888. Within its walls lay the grandest refracting telescope ever brought to life, boasting a magnificent 36-inch objective lens. In a remarkable turn of events, the Yerkes Observatory in Wisconsin made its mark in 1897 by unveiling an even longer refractor, a true giant that remains unmatched to this day. Yet the refractors were approaching the edge of their capabilities. The lenses drooped, burdened by their own heaviness. A piece of glass of this magnitude could never be flawlessly crafted or upheld. The future once more beckoned towards reflections. Innovators embarked on a journey exploring the possibilities of silver-coated glass, a material that promised to be lighter and more manageable than the traditional metal mirrors of Newton's era. Reflectors, having once been eclipsed by their lens-based counterparts, were now experiencing a resurgence. In that moment, photography wove itself into the narrative. In a remarkable turn of events, telescopes transcended their traditional role of merely gazing at the cosmos. They now possessed the extraordinary ability to capture the celestial wonders in time. With the advent of long-exposure photography, astronomers embarked on a journey through the cosmos, unveiling the hidden beauty of stars, nebulae, and planets, revealing depths previously unseen. The era of keen observation was drawing to a close. Thus commenced the era of data. As the 20th century unfolded, the telescope evolved from a mere instrument of sight into a wondrous device of discovery. Once confined to the realm of the visible, telescopes ventured forth into the vast expanse of the electromagnetic spectrum, revealing mysteries that had long eluded our gaze. On the majestic heights of Mount Wilson in California, a pivotal moment in history unfolded as George Ellery Hale took the lead in crafting the Hooker telescope, a remarkable achievement that came to fruition in 1917. Behold, with a magnificent 100-inch mirror, it stood as the mightiest telescope of its era, a true marvel of its time. And into that mirror gazed a young astronomer named Edwin Hubble. In the roaring 1920s, Hubble took to the skies with the Hooker telescope, casting his gaze upon the mysterious Andromeda Nebula. What he uncovered transformed the entire narrative. Andromeda was not merely a cloud drifting within our galaxy. It was a galaxy unto itself, one among countless others in the vast cosmos. Hubble's groundbreaking discoveries shattered the notion of a small, unchanging universe. In the grand tapestry of existence, the cosmos revealed itself as an immense, ever-expanding realm, steeped in a history that stretched beyond the limits of time itself. Before long, the very air around us turned into a constraint. The atmosphere of our planet softened the brilliance of the stars, veiling them from our gaze and obscuring a significant portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. In the latter half of the century, the ascent of telescopes took them to new heights, first into balloons, then planes, and ultimately into the vastness of orbit. In the year 1990, NASA unveiled the Hubble Space Telescope, a celestial tribute, soaring high above the Earth's turbulent atmosphere. Following a brief setback with its mirror, Hubble embarked on a remarkable journey, unveiling the most intricate images of the universe ever seen. majestic columns of gas, the final breaths of stars, and the tender beginnings of galaxies. It gazed furthest into the fabric of time than any mortal vision ever could, and Hubble was merely the prologue. Instruments such as the Arecibo Observatory and the Expansive Array in New Mexico opened a gateway for scientists to eavesdrop on the whispers of the cosmos. Infrared telescopes unveiled the enigmatic concealed wonders shrouded in the veil of cosmic dust. In a cosmic tale, X-ray telescopes unveiled the dramatic spectacle of black holes feasting on surrounding matter. With every new type of telescope, a fresh chapter of the cosmos unfolded before our eyes. And so the tale unfolds with the arrival of the James Webb Space Telescope, which took to the skies in 2021. With a sensitivity that surpasses Hubble's, this marvel is crafted to peer back over 13 billion years, unveiling the beginnings of galaxy formation. More than a mere observer from above, it is a wondrous contraption crafted from shimmering gold mirrors and intricate equations, a vessel that transcends time itself. From Galileo's unsteady wooden tube to the magnificent spacefaring observatories chilled by liquid helium, the telescope has transformed into a marvel of wonder. We no longer merely observe the universe, we unravel its mysteries. With every new lens, mirror, or frequency we unveil, we draw nearer to the profound question that ignited our journey. What other wonders await beyond the horizon?